It'll be alright. And this, I think, works out much better for Finland, where I think isolated TCs are, from the games I've been watching, usually what you want. So the main fight will be Hera as the Mongols against Valis as the Gajars. Out by himself will be Velessa as the Vietnamese and Mentalist as the Huns. But then we're also going to have Rubenstock as the Koreans, who unfortunately won't have anyone to douche, but we'll have a free boom. To the north, we'll have a triangle of... This will be Max as the Hindustanis against Slam as the Mayans and Chris as the Chinese. Now, once again, Canada will be in the cool colors, and as weird as it is to say, Finland will be in the warm colors. Part of me thinks we need to find a way still to get the Max in the cyan color and out of that yellow. Maybe we put Mentalist in the white. Oh, look at that TC outline. Yeah, we can't do that though. We gotta keep them on the colors they chose, colors they'll play with. You think this feels like a war start? I think this is what Finland would want. Oh, Mentalist here, cyan, not purple. And this is, remember, Velessa is the Vietnamese, so now his team will know exactly where all of the other TCs are. It's nice that this finally is a team bonus and revealed to your teammates, too. Chat's blessing to flip the colors. Now we gotta... The only game so far that Finland has lost has been when the Max has not been in cyan. So we need to know that information if that is why they lose again. Imagine this happens. Imagine that Canada sweeps this series. Then Finland makes it back, winning in the lower bracket to go to the grand finals, and then they sweep the grand finals if they swap colors. Also, interesting when you're the Gajars and you get the berries, they spawn out in front of your TC instead of underneath it. So, I guess once again on this map, we mainly use DE's ladder version, and other than placing, I think, 6 relics on it instead of 8, the main change I made was next to each of the pawns, we're going to have a small clump of 3 of these Boab trees, and just generally in the middle, there are a few more trees. So it's not as crucial to have a TC on the edge to get the lumber camp out there on the edge as early. It gives you more freedom to play around in the middle. And I think we have seen that in quite a few games throughout the tournament, and that's been a nice thing to come across. I do need to... I think there is a small Boab tree stump in the new version of small trees with the options menu checkbox, so I need to add that to my small trees mod. And actually get the small the small stump. Because ironically, when you chop the small trees version, the stump is then bigger than the tree. Or at least the felled tree graphics. And we'll see where Valis lumber camps. Well, we'll see where Hera lumber camps. He's close enough to go to the edge. Valis... We'll see where Slam lumber camps, right? Like, Slam now has the freedom to lumber camp in the middle, and he doesn't need to, like, walk a Vil all the way out there to get a lumber camp up. And we can see the same thing from Chris, lumber camp in the middle. Does Elephant have the same HP as a boar? Yes, they're all 75 HP. It of course has more food, 400 instead of 340, and its attack animation is faster. So it actually can kill Vils a bit more easily, not because the animal itself is faster, but just because it's basically standing still for less time while it's attacking. It can catch the Vil better. It's small trees, not small stumps. I can change the name of the mod to be small trees and small Boab tree stumps. And, well, we see Rubenstock walling off already. So he's maybe gonna hope that no one comes to douche him. He has a lumber camp on the edge. And we'll see also the Max. Where's his lumber camp? If he has one yet. Could go to the edge, but I wouldn't be... Up there he goes. He's going for these trees in the middle. My prediction. I'll go 4-3 Finland. What's up with all these early looms? They're clicking up the Feudal. I think that's what's up with them. I guess to be fair, you don't really need loom until after you get Feudal, because there's no scout to hurt your vills. But I don't think it's really that much of a difference if you get it before you click up anyway. It does maybe help you click up just because you're spending 50 gold instead of 50 food. So you can click up a bit faster without idling it, because you will want it eventually. Yep, it is best of 7. And what's going on over here? We have some walling from Valessa. This is, ooh, those 2 pawns are really close together. When you, oh yes, this is where 2 of the pawns spawned as 1. This is where I'd love to dock. I did manage, when I played this game in this map in USAE, I had a situation where I was basically surrounded by 4 players and like just had to try to die as slowly as possible. So when I ran to reboom, I grabbed like one of these lakes where they're right next to each other, and I managed to dock it and get a shorefish boom. It was like I was in the Feudal Age. I had a TC, like 10 vills, and a bunch of fishing ships. It was great. How the match of Argentina ended? That one, well, we casted that yesterday. That was a 3-2 win in favor of Brazil, pulling it out on Arabia. So everyone's getting up to Feudal now. We'll see some double bit axes. And the question is, who's going stable and who is just going to fast castle? Valessa Rubenstock still in the Dark Age. Maybe they're going to fast castle. We see Rubenstock doing the villager plus loom, and he's going to swap that to do loom first as he sees players up to Feudal. And Valessa just really safely walled over here. And does he have loom? He does have loom. Those must have been his elephant lures. He's going to pull his forward villagers back because he's afraid of scouts. So now we see those players going up to castle. This is where we'll have scouts from Hera against archers from Valis as the Gajars. And he'll be adding in a spearman too. Where... Oh, yep. Does he not have a mill? He's going to need a mill. Oh, his mill's up there. Oh, he has 10 sheep in the mill already. That's why these are all back here. He'll be doing another lumber camp in the middle. Hera has a nice area to wall off his lumber camp. And then we'll have an X here from Rubenstock, as it looks like Mentalist also wants to go for some scouts. So scouts opening from the Huns and from the Chinese by the looks of it, and also from Hera as the Mongols. So Slam, he is the Mayans, he can't go for scouts, but he will just be Feudal booming by the looks of it. And going for archers, actually. So everyone on Canada going aggressive. That looks like 2 archery ranges from Slam. And he's going to walk a long distance and try to pressure Valessa, as Chris will finally discover him. It's almost like a campaign scenario where you have to walk across the entire map to find your enemy. I have an X to the north on Chris's lakes. I wish that X or Slam telling Chris to dock, but it's probably not. I don't know, is that thin enough you could sail over? It might be. Probably need to wall in those vills, but it wouldn't be too hard to wall them in the middle. Will he do his Koreans go towers? I think Rubenstock is going to fast castle and... Well, he's on stone. That could be for war wagons, or it could just be a boom. He might try to castle drop Mentalist. That could be pretty cool. But it will be hard to do a castle drop when the scouts are out and about. The scouts managing to get in on Valis. The north will just have Valessa continuing to wall, use the market to keep this attack out. They're going to go for an even more back market. I think there's a way the archers could maze themselves through here, though, between that house and the market. And Valessa will pay attention and realize that. Huns, Mongols, Mayans, and Chinese. This feels like a classic Arabia set of civs. Like the good old days when you do the Mayan players slinging, just missing the Spanish for the trade bonus. A bit trickier of a civ composition here for Finland. And so Valessa, as his walls are being breached, He will add in a defensive tower to try to keep this pair of armies out. So Slam and Chris managing to do a bit of damage, but not too much. At the same time, we do have some scouts from the Max running around Chris's base. He had not been fully walled on the side. Had, oddly enough, walled the side away from the Max. And Canada does have a villager lead. But I think a part of that is just due to the fast castling, initially putting the villas behind. And actually, looks like Chris is able to come down now onto Valis, and Valis is down to 17 villagers. He's taking some damage then. It's those archers in that range, but they'll have a defensive castle here from Rubenstock. Yeah, Ruben trolling us by not trolling. And we'll have a castle here from Valessa. And potentially looking to go for some Rattan archers. And Hera? 35 vills to 19 from Valis. This is where the action's going down. It looks like Hera, he had made a skirm transition to deal with the Valis who was just going for the archers. And the archer play not working out for him when he didn't have a teammate to go scouts. Ooh, the villager trying to quick wall and trap the archers almost got the market up. That would have been absolutely devastating for Valis. He at least has some goats under the TC. But that's just about it. He might eventually lose that mill if the scouts just want to go out there. He's going to lose another couple of hills. It feels like the Max is doing well in the north against Chris, but not nearly as much damage as Hera's done to Valis here. What are these vills going to do? They want to go out to that lake there, and Slam's there. Oh no, Slam. Slam has the archers over here too, and Valis, he was on 19 vills, and he's going to be on 19 again. It's forever 19. Hey, did they all gang up on Valis? Valis has 18 eco deaths, only 1 for the rest of Finland, so he's taking damage and will have to be playing basically the Licks role of staying behind and finding a way to get up. And hope that, even if he's not harassing people, the fact that they had to spend army harassing him means his teammates have a cleaner play, and well, perhaps that's what Valessa does have now with Rattan archers against Slam. Rattan Archer is probably a unit that you do want against the Mayans. They will have 1 more attack than normal archers, so that does even help punch through the Pierce Armor if the Mayan player does go Eagles. yeah, Valis will play my role of dying while Ornlu booms.
Shot it.
The archers and skirms come over to pressure the Rattan archers. And Mentalist not quite able to break in. Good job walling from Rubenstock. And we do have decent booms here from Rubenstock and Valessa then. More vills than anyone on Canada. And this might be the 1-player dies while 2-player booms type of strategy working out. Max not able to get into Chris there. The goat defending the palisade. The stout defender of the lumber camp. Now it's Max coming out and fishing the shorefish that Chris had milled. And yeah, it looks like Hera, Slam, and Mentalist all ganged up on Valis. Max himself does have 4 Vil kills, getting on both Slam and Chris. And in total, Vil difference not that big, and considering how far behind Valis is, that probably does make you feel good for the rest of Finland. You overstate how much we care about Valis dying. Yes, he's going Rattans, but he's also booming behind it. So he wanted the castle, and it's not just all in rattans, it's booming while rattening. Garrison goats, but not for the defense of the mill. Maybe that's got to be the next update. Kurjaras shoot arrows when they have goats in the mill. Well, we'll have to mod that in someday. You boom into the slowest unit. You boom to elephants. That would be slower than the rattan archers. These guys are actually fairly speedy. They're 1.10. They're faster than the skirmishers. Not like plumes, but pretty speedy, actually. I'll have Chris going for Cav, comboing with Slam going for the crossbows. So Chinese plus Mayan composition here. And now maybe it's the Max who's in a bit of trouble, as he really doesn't have much walling or much defense. He is playing the 1v2 role, so he just wants to defend as long as he can. And oh, hello, Valis. Valis is migrating. He will be playing the the T-West African clearing role of you're gonna lose your starting TC eventually, so get the vills to safety, prepare to build a new one. Get your docks up, prepare to fish boom if you're gonna be stuck in Feudal. And here come the war wagons from Rubenstock, moving slowly across the map. Faster than the rattan archers, 1.2, but still not all that fast. He's gonna want to help out the Max. He has quite a few of these, actually. He's got 13 of them. If he can clear some crossbows and get into a small gap between the houses so the knights can't fight, let the camels come over. And this might be okay. Camels do a lot of bonus attack against the war wagons. That +9 versus Cav does indeed apply to them. So, an interesting matchup where they both kind of kill each other, but if camels can get on the war wagons and close the distance, then usually camels do pretty well in these fights. Yeah, you do wonder, will he delete that TC just so we can move it somewhere else sooner? So sometimes you want to delete your TC not to douche, but just to build it somewhere else. At this point, it's too late to douche. And looking at the booms, 83 for Valessa. He is certainly the most ahead in the boom. And Mentalist still adding in a few knights. You got to think that the Hunnic boom into the Cyan Paladins is probably the scariest boom there is. Valessa and Rubenstock not quite as mobile with their booms, even if they might have the individually stronger units. War wagons are fairly mobile, but don't quite hold up to Paladins. As now they're getting some raiding in on Chris. Chris adding in Wheelbarrow. Yep, this was a Nomad start, yes. African clearing is Nomad. Or is nomadic. It is a slightly altered version of the old Bedouins map. Boomed Vietnamese have the potential to wipe out Mongols. That is true. The Rattan Archer Bombard Cannon combo of Vietnamese is one of the things Mongols can struggle to deal with in some situations. It's not like this is Black Forest where the Mongols can just kind of go Megidai siege onager and rely on trade and the support of their teammates. Here, African clearing, it's a bit different and probably gives the Vietnamese a better situation to use their composition. And Slam, 75 vills. Canada catching up in the boom, but now Valessa on 102, and Rubenstock booming away as well. We have a mill here for the Valis in the middle of Rubenstock space. And a castle drop now from Hera on Valis' starting TC. This is where you start thinking, do you just delete it and rebuild it? Well, if he doesn't delete it, it'll go down quickly enough. And the war wagons have quite a good attack bonus, +5 against buildings. And they're tanky enough with enough HP, they can sit under the TCs and do some damage. You have ballistics in. But now we see the camels managing to jump on top of the war wagons, and we'll see if they can take a good fight. Max there, his camels don't really hold up to TC fire. TCs only, they don't have any upgrades though, no fletching or bracer. And the question is whether Valis will migrate his sheep. For now, I think they're still in that starting mill. As Chris seems to be going more heavily into camels now rather than the knights, as a counter both for Max's camels and also to the war wagons. Now check how Valis is doing. Wait, he has one goat in that mill. Where did his goats go? Did he migrate them? I don't think they show up on the units panel. And we'll have more raiding here from Mentalist, trying to hit Rubenstock, but Rubenstock's still ahead of Mentalist in that villager count. And able to move out with war wagons. And you're surprised Max is so alive? Well, that's from the help of Rubenstock. Rubenstock's able to get a good boom while still pumping out these war wagons, which means it's going to be kind of lesser Rubenstock against a boomed Mentalist, and, well, maybe a boomed Hera. He actually has the most vills and is up to the Imperial Age for Canada, having taken out Valis. Valis right now does not have a TC, just going to start adding it in the back. At least he will have safety. I'm telling him, though, he needs some docks. Gotta get that fish boom going. Play it like it's BF at this point. Now, Valessa, he's decided he's going to charge out and won't be going after Hera as the Mongols. Instead, he's just going to be castle dropping Chris. Chris, the lowest player on Canada so far, and this also gives an opportunity to hit Slam. And so even against the Mayans, Vietnamese have a pretty good composition for dealing with what the Mayans can do. Yeah, and also if you get in that situation for Koreans, if you're like really close to each other at the start and you have to go towers, they do get that free guard tower upgrade, so that can help out in some situations too. And well, the Rattan Archers, they have their Pierce Armor, and they're just gonna decide, well, let's sit under this TC and take out villagers. And they're going down. That's actually a lot of villagers there. This Pierce Armor helping out. And with that extra attack, they can take mangonels. Like cavalry. Actually, wait a minute. Do they? It's 8 and... Okay. Yeah, 6 Pierce Armor. Yeah, so like cav archers, they do 2 damage to mangonels instead of 1. So that's twice the damage against mangonels. And with their speed, they can dodge the attacks a bit better. Unlike those two, but in general, though. And it looks like it's going to be Rubenstock pushing now against Hera. So one thing about war wagons is they don't have that siege armor class, so Mangudai won't get an attack bonus against them. One of the units where war wagon versus Mangudai is sometimes a good matchup for the war wagons. They might not be as impressive at their damage output at most other units. And Hera is just going to spend as many vills as he can. So, use his village to raise that castle, but he will get it up and force Rubenstock away. Okay, so this is where it feels like Rubenstock wants to be pushing Hera, while Valessa pushes both Chris and Slam, and Max will try to keep Mentalist occupied with a... Oh, look at that castle drop. Wait, what? Oh, that's a gate? Mentalist has rams inside of an open gate, and he's using them to hit Max's castle. And Hindustanis against Huns, if they can get out camels, that should be a good counter to all of the paladin spam. We'll have Drill coming in for Hera, for the speedy siege, as Imperial Age is coming in for Mentalist. Max is on 86 vills. Canada still does have the score lead, starting to open it up by about 75 villagers. And they need Valessa to push and push fast. The problem is, how does he deal with Eagle Warriors? Rattan's better than normal archers against eagles, but still probably not great. As Hera looks like he's going to start pushing out, and he's going for the rams. As speedy drill rams, and that's something that Vietnamese don't have a great way of stopping, especially when Valessa is going so hard for the Rattan archers. And this might be the push that Canada needs here. We have the Onager out now, but maybe too late to save the castles, as these speedy rams can even just go for the Onagers. 0.6 versus 0.9 speed, and one hit, down goes the Onager. Valessa forced to fight with villagers as they're more effective than the Rattan archers here, but the Ferrari train keeps coming in for Hera. Another onager out, another 2 onagers. They'll probably go down right away if the Rams target them. That's 1 castle down and a 2nd castle down. And that's for a player who had been going for Rattan archers. Just couldn't take out the Rams fast enough. And then going forward, looks like the Eagles cleaned him on the front. And as much as Valessa does have the score lead and is pop capped, it feels like Canada now is really going to be punishing the lack of any military from Valles. The game is dragged on long enough that the player who is out of the game, now it matters that he's out of the game. Look at that war wagon shooting to the side. And so, Treb is popping for Rubenstock, and he's going to try to hit Hera from the other side. Max buying stone. Finland, they're going to try. I mean, the game isn't over. And, well, look at that Vil count. They caught up. What, 464 to 485. I guess Canada doesn't need as many Vils now that they're mostly boomed. But as long as Valessa isn't dead and he can make a switch to another unit, he can hold. Rubenstock trying to add in a castle here. Eagles, usually a decent unit to use against war wagons, but they do have a big enough attack. They can still get through some of that pierce armor. It's a good amount of damage. And it's going to be a swarm now of Eagle Warriors for Slam. And has he remembered? Yes, he did remember to click that Elite Eagle Warrior technology this game. He's not going to be raiding with non-elite Eagles. And Rubenstock will just be camping on a hill, trying to finish taking out the Eagles with that castle, and managing to defend well. War wagons can chase, they do have some mobility. Actually, they are slower than the Eagles, but they still do have some mobility. Maybe the worrying thing is, though, Valles might still be in a position where he just can't defend against the Eagles. He needs Rubenstock to hold. Especially that TC. Even if he does, Fletching and Bodkin won't be able to overcome the Eagle Pierce Armor. And we'll have a TC on this gold from Slam. Important to keep the Mayan player in control of the golds. He's raiding now the forward castles from Valessa. And looks like he's trying to get in on Rubenstock too. Mentalist going for Cav. And looks like he's going to be switching to Cav Archers, maybe? Well, he's adding both more stables and a few ranges. Maybe a composition of Paladin plus Cav Archer. We have Elite Mangudai done now for Hera. And with a few skirms too for pushing the Rattan Archers. We have a Cavalier switch from the Vietnamese. I mean, they do get... I guess they're fully upgraded aside from Blast Furnace Cavaliers. So at least they have bloodlines and armor, but does it ever feel good going for the Cavaliers? I mean, he's going to take a fight on the front, but Slam just has so many Eagles, up to 80 plus Eagles, trying to get in and raid Valessa. Valessa defending with what Rattans he has left. And, well, Slam will lose a lot of Eagles here. Pressure from Hera, though, not stopping as he's forward with his Drill Siege, and now his upgraded Mangudai. They just had Parthian Tactics finish. And I think those Mangudai, are they fully upgraded? I think they are. And remember, onagers with proper attack grounds counter melee units. He's trying to avoid hitting his Treb, but maybe he should have just sacrificed it there. As all the Cavaliers are going down. We'll see what type of attack grounds Hera can get. Needs Siege Onager, maybe. And, well, the Cavalier Light Cav from Valessa pushing this back. He still has his castle alive, so he still will have some Rattans. To the north, Slam taking out his other castle. Valles now up to 110 Vils, though. It's more than Slam has, but the Mayans really don't need Vils. He just wants Eagle population now. And as much as he's been raiding with eagles, he's also been losing eagles. And it's only a 1,000 score difference and only a 50 vil difference at this point. And as Valis clicks up to Imp, if Finland can just hold a bit longer until Valis enters the game as the Gujars, well, I guess the Max is going to join for the old position of Valis now, as he looks like he's being double-teamed by both Chris and Mentalist. That's a lot of trebs there, 5 trebs for Chris. And once again, Rubenstock will need to come over and contribute a help out against Mentalist, as Chris was by no means ever killed. He is at 200 pop now. And just continuing to push into Max, doesn't need to worry about Valessa now with Slam on his side. And Max basically had been fighting a 1v2 for a while. Still, somehow he has 109 Vils. I don't even see where are they? Oh, they're migrating. The yellow Vils kind of blend in, but he's got 100 Vils, but no base. And he'll be going for heavy camel and trying to take out Mentalist, but his fleeing Vil is going to be tracked down. And the difficult thing for Finland will be, how do they set up trade in any way now? As well, Max down to 70 Vils, and this might be it. Took Valis a bit too long to get back into the game, and Canada was able to win while playing 4v3. Well, Migration is Canada's home map, not Finland's, and we're down to under 50 Vils for the Max now. Are there any left? There's a couple left up there that'll go down. He's going to try to get over to Rubenstock and Valis. This is just the corner where Finland runs to if they're dying. Yes. There's Valis up to Imp. Harry needs to sell for gold, and he's going to be pushing now and looking for good onager shots here. As he deploys the trebs and goes for that castle. He's thinking that maybe onager shotting the castle. Will he get the light cav? He does. Perfect. And there's the GG from Finland, and Canada takes game number 1. Valis rainbowed early on and never could quite recover from that. Yeah, only 19 kills. Rubenstock and Valessa did great. Valis took the brunt of that early attack and just died a bit too hard. Most kills there for Valessa. Most eco for him too. And of course, the most APM goes to Hera, which I think we'll be seeing a lot of that this series. Hera with the most APM. And this will not be a TC war, but it will be Max and Hera right next to each other with a side of Slam. And then Valessa. So civs here are going to be Burgundians, Tatars, Saracens, and Burmese for Canada against Malians, Spanish, Burmese, and Persians for Finland. And here we're seeing that Burmese mirror for both teams, thinking this is where they want to get that civ out of the way. He started streaming on YouTube. I mean, there are a lot of nice things on YouTube, I think, for streaming. Oh, and Jeep, thank you for the sub. Math all over. I'm actually working on a... I know I had that old website where I did the Saladin leaderboard. I'm working on putting together... I'm still working on that Gurjar log video, and I'm working on making like a mini like series of articles there about logs to correspond with the video. So the only thing I don't like about YouTube is that the chat is just... I can't do good old theater mode like I do on Twitch with the chat on one side and the stream on the other. It's just like not set up for 1440p, and it bumps my chat beneath the video player. Maybe I can find some type of browser extension to make the watching experience better. But it just... I tried it, and I couldn't watch streams on it as much as I wanted to. I do like some of their features, though. Like, I can completely turn off ads, so we don't have those annoying ads interrupting games. And you can customize the amount of subs, so you can have different tiers. Like, I can set my memberships, they call them there, to $1, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, it would be nice to have YouTube streaming work better so then I could have everything in one place. Oh, what? What is this? We have the Max. He had a villager that is not going to make it back to his TC. So, in an amazing display of teamwork, this villager is just going to hang out at Valas's base and repeatedly garrison the TC to drop off resources. Let's see, Max needs to notice. Yep, there he goes. And Valas needs to ungarrison him. Oh, there we go. This is how you know a team is coordinated and knows how to play together. Max and Valas displaying the absolute perfect Finnish teamwork here. This is awesome but stupid. He's just prepared in case Valas gets douched. Max will have a villager over here to help repair. Anyway, down in the south we'll have Rubenstock kind of alone, but he could douche Chris if he wanted to. We will have Mentalist down here to the south too. And it'll mostly be Valas here with that free boom. To the east, we'll have Valessa and Valas both docking the corner. Rubenstock and Mentalist docking adjacent on this side, with Chris and Slam also docking around here. And then finally, not only are their TCs close together, but Hera and Max have docks close together. This is where Max would love to wall in this villager. And, okay, that's actually an amazing play by Hera to put the goose there, because then the Vil can't be walled in as tightly. And it's not like Max can just kill that goose, because then the corpse would be there and he wouldn't be able to wall. That's actually an amazing play by Hera. It's close enough to the Vil so it won't be converted. Oh, that's insane. But yeah, on Nomad, one of the things you want to do is wall in the dock fill, because then you won't be able to add in more docks, and you can just freely add in your own docks, and then win the water because you have more docks. But if you can prevent the wall, and like Hera did with that house, and then by putting the goose there, he has room to move the Vil around. Now maybe Max thinking, okay, he might need to delete the house at some point, but that point is not yet, and he still has a way to get the Vil out. Yeah, I mean, deleting the house, though, that's 25 wood. That's a lot more expensive than deleting palisades. And when you're this close to each other, all that wood matters. Not only are they close, but they each have a gold, so they won't be starved for resources. And this is Malians against Burgundians. You gotta think the Malians should have an advantage in clicking up first. Actually, I wonder if... Oh, Hera. When you build your lumber camp, you gotta put it right here. You gotta put it right here. That's the absolute perfect lumber camp nook. Come on, Hera. You know you want to. You know you want it. That would be absolutely perfect. I hope he does that. I can't imagine, and I'm seeing it right there. Optimizing the important bits. Let me get a screenshot of that. He's going for a house to the north, but we gotta keep an eye on him and see if he does it. That would be perfect. It'll be so inefficient until the first few trees are gone. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter. Yeah, and that's a good point. The safe fish over here, absolutely huge. They can just fish boom to their heart's content. There's 9 fishing ships for Valas, and 7 already for Valessa. All fishing peacefully on the side. Max will be adding another dock far to the north, along with Valessa too. So perhaps realizing that he might not have gotten enough boar, and might be up slow. But Hera feels like he's still up pretty slow too. Still in the Dark Age, everyone else is clicked up. Remember, Burgundians don't have any Dark Age eco bonus if they're not doing their upgrades. And while you're not going to do horse collar, you don't have gill nuts until feudal, and if you don't have a lumber camp, then you're not doing your wood upgrade. Unless he's done wheelbarrow, which would be odd, and he hasn't. Just looks like he's going to be struggling to click up. And Max will be up first. But, oh, Slam is up the firstest, and he will already be towering Max's woodline in TC. Max is none the wiser as to this Canadian's evil schemes, as that tower will push Max at least down here by the gold mine. He does at least have other options for wood. Won't be completely starved off of it. And he probably does want a good amount of wood so that he can go galleys and try to clear off Hera's fish from the water over here. Or fire galleys too. Going for the water win and blame your team if you lose. Well, you can only blame your team if you lose if you manage to wall yourself so you don't get castle dropped immediately if you're doing that. And here we actually have Valessa going for the galleys first. Max is up now. We'll see if he does any galley of his own. Looks like he's not. And it'll just be Valessa here to deal with Hera's fish. And oh, well, from the other side, here is Chris chasing chasing some fish. They'll chase past each other and engage, as Rubenstock had been running to the safety of Valessa. Now Hera is up, and what are these two going to do? Looks like we have some archers from Slam, and Max is going to have to go for a defensive tower. So, wait, where were those archers? Yeah, archers from Slam. So from over here, as the Tatars, he did add in that range. We'll get that free thumb ring if he gets up. Hera trying to continue walling. Just kind of wall Max out. I mean, honestly, this is where Hera could go forward and just kind of wall him in. Mentalist, free fish boom on the side too. And the scary thing for Finland is now Canada is team walled and Mentalist is going to have an absolutely free boom along with fish. And feels like... it feels like Canada needs to be team walled, but make sure they also wall out Rubenstock. That's probably the worst position you can be in Age of Empires if you're team walled, but then Rubenstock is inside your walls. Max trying to buy a castle. Well, he is up to the castle age. Let's see. He's buying food. Chris is buying stone. He's just buying his way up to castle. I mean, a castle drop here, if he could get it immediately, what is his stone count? 70 stone. And remember, he can't just be slung. And Hera with the Burgundians, he's ready to drop a castle. He has the stone for it. Does Max immediately go for a workshop? He goes for the workshop, but will that be in time to get a mangonel before Hera can drop his own castle? Hera is still a minute away from clicking up. And Max in danger of being castle dropped. Well, as I said, if you're going water, you need to be able to stop yourself from being castle dropped. I don't think Max can do that here. He needs to get a mangonel out as fast as he possibly can. Doesn't quite have the wood. And where is it? Oh, Hera, yeah, awful lumber camp. It's such a good spot. Such a good spot. And there's the castle drop, but here is the mangonel. Hera wants to Vil fight the mangonel under the TC and the tower. I don't think that'll work, but it will try to buy himself some more time. There's one Vil going down. And lots of Vils could die to the mangonel now. Nice garrisons there from Hera. And yep, mangonel not in time. Goes down to the castle. And second mangonel also not going to be in time. And now Max in a really tough position. He does at least have a stone and a gold he can run to. But Hera still on stone. He could go for a second castle drop if Max doesn't get his TC in a good spot. He's just plopping it wherever he can. Hera could just mine some stone, buy a bit of stone too, and just plop a castle right here. Just completely take Max out of the game. On the right, it looks like Rubenstock has now scattered the fish booms of Valis and Valessa. Looks like Rubenstock on the water to the south. But yeah, Mentalist still playing water with some fires. Chris running some fish around. To the north, looks like Canada is still winning, but going to be fighting against the Valessa, who does have a bit of an advantage and some demos. Nice demo there. And we don't have defensive castles here. Mentalist doing a Rambai at home, and Navalis doing Conquistadors at home. South, this is still Slam, and Chris trying to contribute to their team walls and finish them off. If they did, that would be great. That'd also keep Rubenstock out, as Rubenstock has gone for his own Arambai, and will be going towards Max with the Arambai. Next, just trying to get walled in. But, oh, here come the Custier. Monked there. Immediately going for the conversion. Here come the Arambai for Rubenstock, trying to save the Max. And can he take a good fight against the crossbow, or will he run? He's going to decide to run. 8 crossbows, 6 Arambai. The Arambai don't want to engage. Max is going to let him in. And, well, his Mangonel can help defend against that, as he's Mangoneling down the market here from Hera. To the back, and, is this exactly what I pointed out earlier, that Canada is going to be punished for not finishing their team wall? Well, it looks like some Conquistadors are getting in. How did Conquistadors do against a Rambai? Not quite sure about that. Maybe the Conquistadors win?
Monday.
And well, the free boom from Mentalist, maybe not so free anymore. As Chris he's trying to triple market wall. Oh, quadruple market wall. Win with micro? Probably, like, if you're gonna stand still next to each other and just take straight up fights, then maybe the Arambai win. But the Conks, as weird as it is, probably are easier to micro, even though they don't hit anything either. Nice monk conversion there. And to be honest, I think numbers probably do matter, at least more than anything. But it does feel like the Conks are doing a decent job of shooting and running away. As down the Arambai are going. Yeah, that historic conversion was clutch, but I think they still managed to clean the Arambai as more come in. This wall is still not finished. And Valis just free booming behind this. 68 Vils. And score lead for Finland, even though the Max feels dead. And it's just up by so many Vils. That Mentalist still looks like he's been fighting hard for the water, but hard enough that he lost it, and now is pretty far back in Vil population compared to Valessa, who's still fighting for the water. And that's a Valessa with the Persians with the faster working TC, who has such a nice boom. And, well, Persians, Spanish, Malians, just missing the Dravidians that Canada had taken. Nomad. Chris getting in on some fishing ships now. About a 40-ville lead for Finland. So, Mangonel now working on Hera, the Max, somehow still alive despite that castle drop. And TC taking some hits. Now, as much as the Custier want to engage, the Arambai are there, and a few monks to fend them off. Oh, Max, don't mangonel your own mangonels. So TC being hit by the mangonels. There they go. Alessa will be up soon. Looking at the resources, he is up already. And Rubenstock, he wants the castle drop, but Max's mangonels can't pathfind anywhere else. Maybe he's got to take out the mining camp to castle drop. Ruben drop denied by his own teammate. There we go, there's another castle. They're trying to throw down a market to deny a castle spot. Let's see how the Custier do here as I run into the Arambai fire. Chanky enough on HP to survive. 115 HP. Oh wow, that's a lot of HP. Denies a half-dead TC and a bunch of farms. It lets you steal the farms and then you're just defending your own farms. That's how you gotta think of it. So Custier going down. As Xing on the north. Chris is still with the galleys on the water, sniping off as many fish as he can. And he's chased down by Valessa's fires, but these galleys have 30 kills. I think Chris has just been microing these galleys all game while booming. He is up to 79 vills, but still in the castle age. Oh my gosh, these have killed a lot of eco. What's the eco KD? Chris has 34 eco kills because he's just been sniping fish this whole game with these galleys. Oh gosh, he's gonna get more. Oh, there's Valessa up to imp. Perhaps the player who has most kept his fish alive from Chris. It's another one. 31 kills. It's gonna attract more. It's like when you're scouting on a campaign and you just keep finding those random units. Well, now we have another forward castle from Valas as he's almost about to hit Imp 2. No one from Canada clicking up. Conquistador is going for the market as the castle goes up. And there'll be some Arambai to the other side. But Arambai now against Conquistadors. Do these just become elite Conquistadors? I mean, you pop the Treb out there, what, from a back castle? Oh, there's conscription. And here come the Trebs. Trebs will be popping. And, oh, Arambai getting in a tiny choke point, but you can see the trail of bodies as they try to run in there, but don't really survive. They're chased down by other Arambai. Mangonel getting a shot in on the knights. And there it goes down. No vills going down to the Arambai raids in Finland. Weirdly enough, it's only about a 30 vill lead, but there's going to be the GG from Hera. He just can't fend this off. Let's look at the Eco KD. 37 fishing ship kills from Chris. His team lost the water, but he just kept going around sniping the fish. So that game felt like just Valas and Valessa were able to get really smooth booms up. Slam went to help Hera. They 2v1'd Max, but then Max died while his team boomed. That ties it at 1-1. I have most kills there for Valessa. Most eco for Valas. And most APM again for Hera, of course. I forgot to leave the old game first, but now here we are. Not like we missed anything. Migration, Dark Age. It'll be Slam as the Malay on the flank this time. Hera as the Berbers in the pocket. Chris as the Vietnamese pocket. Haven't really seen them, but Canada keep coming up with interesting pocket civs. And then finally, Mentalist as the Dravidians on the flank. For the other team, Valesa will be Lithuanians on the flank. Not doing anything special, just going to the flank. We'll have Max as the Huns pocket, Valas as the Japanese pocket, and Rubenstock as the Inca's flank. So it doesn't look like we've seen anything too special here. Fairly standard civ picks as far as migration is concerned. We'll have nice, very evenly spaced relics, one dotted right in the middle and the other 5 surrounding it in a circle. Canada, I do like Canada's civ composition here, but then again, I do like any civ composition that involves the Dravidians on this map. This lets you get that dock up nice and early. And they are, by all means, then saving Vikings for Team Islands. Lithuanians, Valesa, he's not going for the very super fast skip the house, do the early dock, don't do a fishing ship, go up on 14 Vils build. He's just going for a more normal build. Is still docking forward, though. And for Canada, they do have a pretty big rush distance between the two teams here. So that'll, well, work out good against the Lithuanians. Maybe bad if they wanted to go fast with, say, Malay powered by the Dravidian early dock. And when I say early dock, I mean that you can just go out to the dock with 4 Vils on. Oh, Slam! Slam! Slam, what are you doing, Slam? You have a Dravidian ally. That dock should be a house. I mean, that house should be a dock. Oh, Slam. You did the one mistake you shouldn't be doing. Well, he'll have 2 Vils out to do the dock anyway, and he'll be a bit more forward on that shorefish. Well, maybe that was intentional from him, but that feels like it's the opposite of what he wanted to do. He won't need to do another house later in Feudal, at least, because the dock will still save him from that, but that might delay his fishing ship. I mean, any civ plus Dravidians is great on this map. You're gonna say docks take forever to build? I mean, in my experience, I don't get housed from doing the dock after 4 Vils on wood, but that might also be because I had been putting 5 Vils on the deer instead of 6, which you normally do on the sheep. I didn't pay attention to Slam's TC there. Maybe he did need the house to avoid being housed. Yeah, back dock from Mentalist, and, well, if you are against the team with the Lithuanians, then a back dock makes a lot of sense. They'll have side dock from Rubenstock here as the Incas, and the players will start getting out their fishing ships. Pockets will be fish booming. Always a question of how many fishing ships do the pockets add in. Oh, wait, could Canada? Could they dock block here? Yeah, they could. If Slam were to dock here, and Hera were to dock here, then they could have safe fish all the way in the back here. I think I gotta move the islands and force them to be consistently slightly farther apart. That should also avoid that one bug where we had the wood lines all spawning on one island. I think preventing dock blocks is a situation. Let me just screenshot this so I remember for the future. If I ever revisit this script again. Migration dock block. You think there's a 1-tile gap? Let me turn on the grid to check. And you place the dock here, so it's 1, 2, 3. You get to there, place the dock there, and you cover this. Nope, it would be a perfect dock block. Cover those 3, and then you cover these 3 here, and they intersect there. This is YouTube Shorts kind of. I've been thinking of shorts, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do with them. I also made a TikTok, which would just be a place to double dip with uploading shorts on YouTube. I have no idea if I'll actually use it. Okay, so everyone up to the Feudal Age at the same time. Valessa, he is on 2 docks. Slam, he is on 2 docks. Rubenstock, he is on 2 docks. And Mentalist on 2 docks, adding in the 3rd. So Dravidian's can afford to do that early on. And he'll have that immediate 3-dock galley production. And he'll be in a great spot to defend the pocket fish. And then probably go forward, because at this point... Actually, no, never mind. He only has 2 fishing ships, despite that extra wood. Only on 2 fishing ships compared to the 4 of Valessa. And that's going to mean that Mentalist has to take some pretty good engagements on the water, going for that extra dock. And gets to a point where he's able to kill the fishing ships of Valessa. Because otherwise, Valessa will just get to the Castle Age faster. And I like what he's doing, adding that 3rd dock more towards the back, and that's going to give him safer fish. But now he's already caught up to dock numbers, and he's on the 2 extra fishing ships. And part of the strength of the Lithuanian early game is just that great Dark Age. Having extra food lets you gather extra wood. You don't like how Mentalist made safe docks? I can understand it when you're against the Lithuanian player. Maybe instead of this safe, he should have tried to go more here with the initial dock. And then when he saw that Valessa wasn't up fast, then he could go more forward with the next 2 docks around here. But I think these docks are fine. Yeah, Defender's Advantage definitely is a thing, but it's the thing that he wanted with the Lith going up early. He just didn't want galleys to get to the pocket like these are. That Rubenstock somehow sailing right past Slam. Wait, I gotta run that. How did he get through? How did Rubenstock get through here? Slam just not paying attention. And the galleys are just gonna sail on through. And Slam will be none the wiser. Oh, Rubenstock just being Rubenstock with his galleys. He's gonna get right in and disrupt Hera's fish. And, well, that'll be awful for Hera as he wanted to transition to the middle. So great job there from Rubenstock, as Chris will have to get out with some fires now to defend himself. And he could lose a fish or 2 here. Very nice micro, though, from Chris to run away around the fire. And this is exactly what you want to be doing if you're the flank on this map, killing the pocket fish. And even if it's just a couple here and there, as long as your pockets are safe, it's putting your team at an advantage. So Chris in the middle with some villagers. Max in the middle as well, adding in that stable, and he'll be making a couple of scouts on his way up. Huns could go knights, they could also go for cav archers. He's gonna wall his vills in by that lumber camp. And over here, still a stalemate. We see Mentalist hanging back by his docks. Really wants to prevent Valessa from running through to the pocket. This is where it is now 5 fishing ships. So Mentalist has realized with the safe docks, he had an opportunity to add in those fishing ships. Now has an advantage against Valessa. We'll need to be playing a bit of catch up in terms of the food, but does have that advantage. And looking at the Vil count, ever so slightly in favor of Finland. Those fishing ship kills making a difference. Even though Hera does have a huge fish boom in the back. Does have out 10 fishing ships back there. And Vil count's dead even, as more players are clicking up. And there we go. There we have Valessa with that 1630 click. This is going to be a really fast Castle Age from him. Might even be in the 18s. I didn't see... Actually, we can do some math. I think when this hits 17, we'll see how much time is remaining. And yep, that'll be in the 18s. If I did that right. It's 160 seconds. But now it's like, it's a moving timer that I have to do math on. That is making it difficult for my brain to process. That's what you gotta teach all the children these days, how to do math with moving numbers, get them ready for adulthood. And there's a barracks and a monastery here for Valas. As Max has to tell him, yo, there are 2 light cav chasing me. Wall your vills in. But he's not going to wall them in, and now Hera is here with a light cav. And now Hera is here with more light cav, and Valas, why are your vills not walled? This is absolutely devastating. He's going to have 3 buildings, maybe not denied, but at least delayed. And now Hera is going to force stone miners back to the TC. And good usage of the scouts here from Hera. In the south, we do have Mentalists clicking up, and only about 30 seconds or so behind Valessa, but 30 seconds on a water map can sometimes be forever. Usually on migration, you have room to run away, but Mentalist is already pretty far back. Now, Chris going for the fire, but I'll just be picked off, as we have War Galley and Vodkin immediately for Valessa. And I guess one thing to notice is I don't think Mentalist has transported through the middle yet. Oh, actually he has. He does have a lumber camp there. I gotta swap the mini-map colors to be able to see that. Is opening a light cav, the meta on migration has had so many different metas throughout this tournament. I don't even know if there is a meta right now. I think its teams just have strategies and then they try to execute those strategies. Mentalist takes a good fight. Well, he did retreat. And we'll lose some vills on the lumber camp, or at least get pushed away from it. But he does have some backwood he can take. This is where your Dravidians, you can afford to get that early ballistics. And now no ballistics in for Valessa. He has to fall back. And if they take a fight now, Mentalist should have a pretty healthy advantage. Let's see if either one can CBA micro a ship in front. Valessa has to fall back as Rubenstock is doing ballistics himself. They're falling back, and Rubenstock's trying to defend the other side with a few fires from his pocket Valas. Now, in the middle, we do have Valessa booming, adding in more TCs. He'll be guarding a relic with that TC. It's what you want to do if you're the Lithuanians. We have the Max already heading out to collect relics. We'll see. He doesn't have any yet, but Valas has one that eventually he can transfer over to Valessa. Collecting the relics in the middle is a team effort when you know you have the Lithuanians on your team. And if you check the scouting... Ooh, they did miss scouting the relic that's over here. That should be available for them. So getting 3 of the relics on migration, if you really put a concerted effort for it, should be possible. Most games. And here is Valessa trying to use the defender's advantage, but still no ballistics. Ballistics for a Mentalist is going to mean Valessa will take huge losses while he falls back. And now, as Mentalist starts to get in by these docks can't really produce reinforcements anymore because they would just be picked off. And so Slam and Ruben still fighting on the water. In the long run, I usually do prefer the melee, but the Incas are a pretty good water sieve too. As Slam gets to the middle, and Ruben looks like he's still thinking about pushing. Mentalist afford armor? Would he need armor? I mean, if he had armor with ballistics, he could take this fight and take a really good fight here. And that means that Canada then wins water and pushes Max off of fish. Right now, Max still has 15 fish. And this feels like it should be a good fight for Mentalist. Oh, and we have a pause. Who is the culprit? Paused by the Max. By the Max. Max not really a player I'd expect to be a pauser. Sex sauna. That's... I don't think the Finns need to pause for the sauna. I think they can probably just play from the sauna. If the Mentalist galleys get around here, I mean, the fish have kind of paid off at this point. We do have the pockets starting to get vills. Nice number of vills for Max to pause on. Hera does have the largest boom out of everyone. Most fish. And, well, maybe actually Chris has the largest boom in terms of villagers. But he does... Actually, Chris... Wait. Can we save because he's not dropped? Oh, we had a bit of a drop. Ruben crashed. Can we save because he's not dropped? Someone who knows how to save properly should organize it. And okay, they're going to quit, and they're going to save and restore because apparently Ruben has dropped from the game. And what a time to drop in the middle of a fight where we see Slam trying to micro a ship back and forth. Slam and Ruben both do have ballistics, so that won't really work there. Either that or it popped out of the dock and had a weird gather point. Alright, so we'll back out. And we're going to look for them to host the restore lobby. Alright, but we are back into Finland, Canada. The restore has worked. And we'll have Rubenstock closing in on Slam with a few fire ships here from Valas. And pushing Slam back, we do have this nice little back area where Hera has already fished almost all of the fish that were back there. And Slam's being pushed back into it. We were saying earlier these two islands are close enough that you could actually dock block. And it might be a trap though, as Hera has a ton of fishing ships back here. And if these fires are able to push in, does Slam have the numbers here to stay alive? I don't think he does. And this is where Hera starts to get hurt. He had 24 fishing ships, and now a lot of them are at risk of going down. He has 6 back here. And looks like this will be a fight that Rubenstock should win. Can we see how hard Mentalist is killing fish? Because on the other side, Mentalist was breaking through, and he's going to be killing fish as well, getting into the max. And I think, as much as I am enjoying the follows, I'm going to turn that alert off just for the moment, because I don't want to have non-stop follower alerts during the game. But thank you everyone who followed from Mem's raid. And we will have Rubenstock pushing in, and now Slam will come from behind and maybe trap him here. But still doesn't have the numbers. A lot of his fishing ships have already... Like, look at all the fish he's already taken out. He's been going for a huge fish boom so far. And the action is shifting to the middle as we have now pikemen pushing forward from Valas, a few mangonels out. And looks like Hera, after that boom he had up over 100 eco units, is swapping over to knights and camels and going for those cheap Berber stable units. We're going to have a castle now in the middle from the Max as he's adding in more stables and is up to the Imperial age. He might not have his cyan color, but he still can go for pocket paladins. And at the same time, Chris is going up and going for some Rattan archers. And that does put him at risk of being overrun by the Max if he can get up and get his armor. As it looks like Chris, well, he is already up to Imp, but does need some time to amass a good number of these Rattans. He's only on 18 so far. We'll have 3 castles if they all go up, though. And, yep, you are right. No paladins for Canada, but they do have some elephants from the Malay. I guess also from the Dravidians, but I don't think Dravidians ever want to go battle elephants. They could go elephant archers, though. And castle almost denied, but 1 Vil remains on no HP to finish it off. And if we look at the relics, we do have 2 relics for Valessa and 1 for Valas that he could eventually try to give to Valessa. Would need to either get it over here or have Valessa do another monastery up here. And they are scouting now. Oop, they have that 4th relic. So they are in a situation where the Lithuanian player could get 4 relics. and get the full attack bonus for his paladins and Lechai. Looks like Rubenstock's still running around in the back. Now Hera is down. He had over 20 fishing ships, down to about 16, and he will be adding in the fish traps. Remember, this is the old patch, so they will be leaving that one tile gap between the dock and the fish trap. As castle is going up for Hera. And Mentalist needs to add fish. Kind of the same problem that his pocket has already fished a lot of the deep sea fish that were near him. He could go forward to fish now, though, since he has seemingly won the water against Valessa. And that might actually be a pretty good idea if you were to build the dock out here by this TC and add in some fishing ships around it. But Migration has given us crazy games this whole tournament. And it looks like, though, Canada has both of their pockets in pretty good positions, both Hera and Chris, whereas it's just the Max here for Finland. Didn't we see Huns in game 1? In the Civ draft, each team picked 12 civs, and then the remaining civs, each civ can pick once, so you can see civs from both teams. Like, we did see the Burmese for both teams on Nomad last game. It feels like Valis is just getting pushed back, not quite able to hold this. Hera doing a great job with that Berber cavalry spam. And up to Imp now, just about finished with Cavalier, and we're going to see Chris adding in Halbs as well, working on a counter to these purple pocket paladins from the Max that are on their way. A little over a minute left in that paladin research, but perhaps Chris will have the Halbs out he needs by the time they come in. You misclicked the elephant upgrade for a second and you were hyped? Oh yeah, Vietnamese elephants too. We could have lots of elephants from this team, actually. And BF and Arena are both in the pool. And, well, great positioning by the Rattan Archers here. They're going to keep the walls open. And we see Max trying to hold for another 3 seconds. And now he has that Paladin upgrade. And just missing the final attack upgrade from the Blacksmith. His Paladin's almost ready to fight. There's just a lot of Halbs in there. How many? 17 Halbs. He's going to be doing Blast Furnace and deleting the stable so he can get a better attack. Might need to delete some walls too. And Valis is going to try to wall them in from behind, and Valis with the quick wall going to be trapping this entire army as Max comes in with the Paladins. There aren't that many Halbs in there, and this could be a huge fight for the Max as he will clear all of this. Maybe at the expense of some Paladin numbers, but absolutely clutch quick wall from Valis there. And all of this army will be cleared. And Chris, who have been struggling to keep his Rattan Archer numbers up, will have everything cleared. He'll have about 10 or so left. Hera's coming forward with a castle. And all of a sudden, Max's score climbing ahead as Valis seems to be holding. But holding for how much longer, as Rubenstock doesn't have a foothold on the left side of the island anymore. He's been cleared by Hera. And he has to go back to the middle where he doesn't even have great gold access because of Mentalist's water control. Mentalist surrounding the home island of Valessa, and we do see a transport ship here with a couple of villagers. We do occasionally see transports onto these islands, and they can be pretty devastating, even just 5 or so units here when you have no military to defend. And the Max is pushing. Now, if there's one thing in Age of Empires that's scary, it's the Max when he has Paladins, as he's basically just right-clicking castles with Paladins at this point. Hera can try to spam camels, maybe, but he needs to do that heavy camel upgrade, and that's going to take a moment for him to research. And at this point, the castle here from Chris going to be trebbed down. That's, what is that, 3 trebs, so it'll go down pretty quickly. And Chris trying to make that switch into Halbs. The question now becomes, can the Max get a teammate to help him out? His Paladin numbers are getting a great raid on Hera now. And we'll be killing a bunch of villas as they try to construct that castle. And Mentalist still not really making that transition to land. He and Slam are clicking up to amp just now. And Chris trying to defend with halves as best he can. Keep his eco safe, but even that's being raided as now Valesa's here with skirmishers and pushing up with a couple of trebs. Now, Lithuanian skirmishers are good, but you might hope that eventually he can get to another type of unit. And another set of clutch walls. Can he keep the halbs out and away from the trebs? Looks like he can, using the trees. Gets the quick wall up. So they're great quick walling here from Finland. And it will be a treb war, but some teamwork will come in as we'll have Valesa trying to repair Max's trebuchets. It takes 3 treb shots to kill a treb, so as long as you have the repairs coming in, Chris won't be able to kill any of those. And looks like Chris will be losing another castle, and that is costly for the Vietnamese when he did want to be doing those Rattan archers. And at this point, Finland has regained a ton of map control, but now someone wanted elephants earlier. I think Slam wanted them too, as he's going to be adding in these Malay battle elephants for cheap, and Valas is going to try to get some Japanese halberdiers out to deal with them. And already scared for his Canadians now. Still wouldn't mind seeing a quick landing here onto Valesa's home island. He does have a good 25, 30 plus villagers here. Defensive castle here on the max for on his own island. That's going to help him both keep his farmers safe and mine that stone, as Mentalist still has a surround. And Canada does have the water control, and now elite battle elephant from Slam. Will there be enough halbs to deal with this? We see Rubenstock starting to go for eagles as the Incas. I mean, if he could ever get some Kameyuks out, that could be helpful. There's more halbs being pushed in from the north from Chris. And the flanks from Canada feel like they're maybe able to contribute a bit more than the flanks from Finland are now. Rubenstock still, well, 93 vills. It's not like he's dead. He is up to imp, but still very low on score. And it's going to be now halb and paladin against the Malay battle elephants. How do the paladins fare here? Well, the only Malay elephants may be good enough that with some halb support they can push this back, but Slam, he is amassing a ton of elephants, up to 22 now, as his team is continuing to push around the northern side of the island. Valas can't get his eco running, and the camels here from Hera, he just has so many of them. Along with a few Rattans still being added in from Chris. And now, what can Rubenstock contribute? All 4 Canadians are adding military in the center of the map, and Rubenstock is struggling. He's only on 27 military population, trying to add some eagles. I can't help but think maybe halb, or even... I guess he doesn't have the castles for Kameyuk, but I don't feel like eagles will be the best against cavalier and elephant. Malay elephants can swallow an eagle whole. Let's see, Rubenstock's not quite ready to engage, still doing his upgrades. The max still trying to carry with paladins. Chris, throughout this entire tournament on migration, has really liked the archer halb civs from the pocket on migration. And Canada has that good combination of Berber, Cavalier spam, plus Chris going for the Rattans and halbs, and now it is elephant archers from Mentalist. As double elephants. Now we just need Chris to click that elite battle elephant upgrade and do some elephants of his own. Well, here we have a good fight for the Eagles against halbs and against Rattans. This is the composition that the Eagles will be good against. And maybe they can clear out some more Rattans before the Cavaliers come to engage. And they did at least clear the halbs out before the Paladins got there. And this... oh, now the Paladins just don't have the numbers for that fight. And they will be pushed back even more back to their castles where the Eagles want to engage. And maybe this here could be a good fight for Finland. But elephants for Slam still moving to the north. That's where Canada is having success pushing. Even if they might be They can't really push the max. It's the rest of the Finnish team that now has to deal with battle elephants and elephant archers. That's a lot of Trebs. But a lot of Trebs that are going to go down to Cavaliers. Nice onager shot to try to protect them, but he got some of his own Trebs in the process. And all of a sudden, Valos will lose 5 Trebs. Slam's going to be losing a lot of elephants as the melee, but he can lose them as long as they're pushing. And in addition to this push, Canada does have the water control. What's up with the castle on Max's Island? Just wanted to deal with a mentalist surround from the galleys and protect his farms. Elephant archers do rule, and they're pushing into that castle. They're pushing into Rubenstock's base. Valos no longer has a presence on the middle. Rubenstock really never has. He's just trying to contribute eagles. And the max, he is the max with paladins, but there's only so much he can do. And there is the GG, as Canada now will win their first home map and go up 2-1 on quite an impressive game of migration from Canada. And they have always done such a good job of having Hera and Chris working together as pockets. They have one player prepared for the camels and another player just a completely different style of civ. Vietnamese here. I don't think I've seen Vietnamese used as a migration pocket yet. Where Chris has done this with Chinese, and now he's doing it with Vietnamese. We've seen him Chuko Nu, Hal, Bombard Tower. Now it's just the strength of the Rattan archers. We'll check out some stats there. As 136 Cavaliers against 173 Paladins. And Max did everything he could with those Paladins, but just not enough. Look at that, 318 kills, but 310 for Chris. 310 for a unit that's not nearly as expensive to train. And yeah, great eco for Hera too, especially with that huge fish boom he had. And then most APM again. That's our third game in a row. Hera's had the most APM. Oh, and Molisako, thank you for the raid too. I will now turn the alerts back on, I think. And we'll see how long they run for. Some Black Forest. Again, we did use the Rage Forest version as the base map for Nations Cup, only we have 6 relics instead of 8. So immediately it'll be Britons, Celts, Franks, and Incas for Canada against Tatars, Poles, Celts, and Ethiopians, where the Celts are repeated for both teams. Oh, and Dunk, thank you for the sub. So we'll have Rubenstock and Hera in the Vil fight. Rubenstock with the Poles, he's ready the Vil fight. So weird seeing Rubenstock in the red instead of the gray, but Hera, he's going for the very safe walls, going pretty far back, doesn't want a Vil fight with Rubenstock, but there still will be a large open area guarded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wolves for the players if they try to wall up here. And there will be a pond for Rubenstock and a pond for Hera, so 1 pond, we'll see if the flanks take that or if they let their pockets go take it. And it looks like this will be Hera coming to try to wall up the middle. Britain's also a civ that's pretty good in the Vil Wars, because gathering from the sheep more quickly means you don't idle your TC as much. But Rubenstock will get the very forward wall, and with the poles, that does mean he has the potential for a tower rush. And on the other side, we have Slam as the Incas against Valos as the Ethiopians, and, well, I think when Mem raided us, he might have also given us King of the Desert as the map script for Black Forest. This is Arabia over here. There's not going to be much walling here. Slam could wall himself off away from the team, but that's about it. And this is a situation where maybe Mentalist as the Franks wants to go scouts here from the pocket with how open this is. We could maybe see the same thing with the Max as the Tatars. I guess maybe the one thing to note is late game, we do have the Siege Onager civ of the Celts for both teams, but Valos will also have Ethiopians for Siege Onagers and also for Bombard Cannons. Just the Franks here for Mentalists, and if I recall correctly, they don't have Siege Engineers. Jack can correct me if I'm wrong about that, though. Slam is toast. You doubt Slam? And Valis will get a deer push successfully. Maybe mocking in the face of the pro deer pusher, saying, I can do it too. And Slam will be going forward with a barracks. This will be a pre-mill drush from our Canadian over here. Pre-mill drush, if you do bring in 3 extra boar, will be mighty nice. But 2 very different games of Black Forest is, yeah, both flanks are giving the pond to their pockets. So we actually will have both Celts players fish booming. Thanks, they do get siege engineers? Alright. There's another civ I'm thinking of that doesn't then. As militia start to come out for Slam. And he's going to look. We'll see how many militia he makes in this drush. As he's going to start luring in 3 boars at once. Now, I've seen Slam lure 6 boars at once, so 3 should be child's play for him. And, oh, he's only... Or, I take that back. He needs to remember that he's on the old patch with the boar luring, and he's only going for 2. Not going for all 3 of them. Yeah, this is where the boar kind of block each other. So it's both easy to keep the Vil alive and hard to get both boars following because they kind of stop chasing after a while. So we're going to see Slam mining the gold. Vil went back for a moment and then came forward again. But nice lure here as Slam does indeed have Loom. And he's coming in with a 2 militia drush. And Mentalist will have his scout forward too. As Mentalist is doing Loom and looks like he's going to be... looking at what's the new change with boar luring? Just the pathfinding was changed a bit. I don't quite know the specifics of it, but they don't block each other like they do on the old patch. And, well... Wait, whoa. On this side, Rubenstock has gotten through the walls here and walled behind it, and he's going to be docking Chris's pond while Slam was luring that boar. Rubenstock was busy, and, well, here's the problem with walling so far forward, is that you don't have the Vils in position to wall behind, and Rubenstock taking advantage of that. As he's docking, he's not up to the feudal age yet, so he's just docking. Hera's going to try to wall the Vil in, and actually will get it. It's a nice job there from Hera, but the scouts here might try to break the Vil out, and do successfully. It's there, and again, it's so confusing for me seeing Finland in the warm colors and Canada in the cool colors. And I like the way it's done in Nations Cup, because we're not really going to get 4v4 mirrored where they're all like picking the same civ. There's still a bit of distinction to it, but a couple of mirrors here and there, so I think it's a nice variety. And Mentalist, at risk of losing his scout there. Max going for some pretty big forward walls, but he's walling Valis off. Valis is just going to be going for some archers, as Slam has walled himself up and will be going for 2 ranges. And it'll be Ethiopians versus Incas, with looks like a few scouts supporting from Mentalists, as he's trying to get his own set of walls up here in the middle. I can maybe read the follows again. Thank you, Lychee, for the follow. Yeah, Harry isn't quite the BF player, and I mean, Nomad, BF, and Arena all feel like pretty strong home maps for Finland. And Bitten Fortin, thank you for the follow. So down here we have the Drush getting in on the wood line, but being defended from Valis and his archers. Slam needs to get his archers forward. Good walls coming in though from Valis. And MP, thank you also for the follow. Finland have 3. Finland is good at Black Forest. There's no questioning that. And Rubenstock knows how to get through that wall from Hera. You can tell he is experienced there. And Hera trying to lure in 2 boars, but bringing a wolf along with him. As we're going to have 2 boars, a wolf, and these deer all in the same scene. Just Hera's becoming one with the animals. The good thing about the wolf, actually, is it has such a big line of sight, the Vil can just run as far as it wants, and the boar pathing doesn't matter. You see how that boar is falling really far behind, zigzagging along the wood line. And Hera's still able to bring them in. The wolf, ironically enough, actually helps bring in the boars.
Yay.
And nicely done there. I wouldn't doubt Max's ability on BF. On the other side, looks like Slam is in. There was one last gap in the wall, but Valis manages to recover, get the walls up in front of the TC, and Slam will have to go out. So again, good job from the Max walling this off. He's up to the Castle Age and doing some armor. And Valis able to defend without too much of an investment from the Max here. Slam committing heavy to the archers, but not coming forward with any villagers for towers trying to break through the walls. Could be very cheeky and try to go for a tower hop near the blacksmith, or that archery range there. I like this second layer of house walls from Valis. Problem is, he's losing the forward stone, but at least he has 2 golds in the back of his base that are safe. So he is absolutely fine just to play this very defensively. And a dock here from Rubenstock. And we look at the fish booms right now. It is 5 fishing ships for Chris against 7 for Valessa, and Valessa's already finishing shorefish and adding in those fish traps. Fish traps, of course, are actually more efficient than the shorefish. But once again, old patch, so you have to leave a gap between the dock and the fish trap. Oh, and there's the demo hit. Yeah, and exactly, Chris has had to make fires, and Mentalist has had to commit to the Feudal Age. So, Canada being delayed. A great job here from Chris, though, microing those fire ships away. This one will get 1, maybe 2 kills, though he wants to repair it, and we'll get the Vil there. So he's able to defend against this and try to take out the dock. He's got his fires spread out, got some repairs in, but now he's worried about the demo and sending the Vil away, maybe. And just wants to get some walls up here behind Rubenstock. Try to reclaim control of that passage. It'll be 1 more demo, but the dock should go down after that. On the left-hand side, looks like Valis wanted to come forward with some Vils. Well, this is where Valis can wall off the pocket, and that's exactly what he wants to do. If Mentalist wants to go Knights, well, you can wall off the Knights. Does need to be aware that there are 2 choke points you'll need to wall, but nothing really standing in the way of his doing so now that Max has some Knights out and even Archer support here. So they're going to isolate Slam. And, well, Slam will have his own archers out, but he can't really move out to deny the walls now that the Max is up with Knights. Even though he's attracting that wolf there, the dock is cleaned up. And now it is fish trap time for Chris, but he doesn't get the wall up, and a Knight is in for Valessa as this Mangonel is now also contributing to the push. And looks like Chris has been booming by adding in some Knights. He's on 3 TCs and will be going 1 stable Knights. The stable pretty far back, so it's going to take a long time for these Celt Knights to run forward. And what a game of Black Forest when 2 Celt players go Knights at each other. And the monastery didn't go up. Celt Monastery, not really the best either. And on the other side, the walls are going up. And oh, not even walling, they're going even more forward to wall. So great walling here from Valis, and he and the Max are going to try to 2v1 Slam. This is where in one of those land Nomad free-for-all games, Slam would be spamming the chat with no 2v1. But no such rule exists for Nations Cup, unfortunately for this Canadian, as he's going to try to take the best engagement he can with his crossbows. No ballistics yet, just bodkin. And Hera getting out some of his Britain crossbows, but does need to do the upgrades. Only has fletching now. Needs bodkin to outrange the Mangonel. He's still gonna try to micro it, though. This is Hera, and he does escape. And there's the mangonel on the house. Trying to take out the buildings Chris wanted to defend with. Which this palisade wall isn't going to be enough to stop this. We have a spear here from Mentalist. He has a few scouts left. And Vala still needs to do his upgrades. Crossbow and Bodkin on the way. As the Ethiopians, he will have the better crossbows, but I think Slam has been doing a good job of amassing a good army himself. Should have a numbers advantage here. Right now, only 16 to 26. No ballistics for Slam. A nice split micro, though. He's getting out of Monk. And, well, Canada's fate feels like it depends on how well Slam's able to defend this. Slam, a very good Black Forest player in his own right. I mean, Slam, Mentalist, and Chris definitely know what they're doing on BF. I don't think Hera's that experienced, though. And we see Chris trying to add in a layer of stone walls behind this, and that should be enough to stop this push. Valessa not really investing too much into the push. He is still booming, does have a Vil lead, and we'll have a good 11 fishing ships out here on that pond. As he's going up on 3 TCs, he's on the stone and the gold, doing a handcart, and his eco is rolling. We'll have a 4th TC being added in now from the max. Gonna get an extra 2 sheep as the Tatars. As Slam, holding 1v2, and buying time for his pocket Mentalist to break through that wall. Slam still pretty even with Valis in terms of villagers, but if we look at the pockets, that is 67 vills for the max and 53 there for Mentalist. Is ever a good save against Celts? It is Britons. Oh. Briton longbows usually do well against the onagers. It kind of depends on how the fight goes on Black Forest, though. Sometimes you're in a tight choke point and you can't micro the longbows like you need to. Slam is used to these type of games. That is true, too. And will we see a mangonel shot here? Slam is one to avoid taking lots of mangonel damage. But if his crossbows are driven away, Vils could come forward and just add more layers of walls behind this, and crossbows can go and defend the fortifications. You're not really going to break through those walls without siege equipment. And yeah, we're just going to see a double layer added in from Valis there, as Slam's losing control of that part of the map. And now 2 mangonels. Incas can do redemption to convert the mangonels, and that is what Slam is trying to add in. Maybe the fight comes in before redemption, though. Slam's not going to get the outpost. Still no ballistics here from Valis. Slam does have ballistics, so Slam would have an advantage if he were to take this fight 1v1. And Max feels like he only has 10 knights, and 8 of them are there. He's mostly focused on the boom. And Valis going heavy for the mangonels. 4 mangonels. We saw him do this in King of the Desert earlier, but this time Slam has the monks to defend. Look at that micro. And sidestepping the mangonel shot. Gets 1, and will trade 1-to-1, so he clears 2 mangonels immediately, and that alleviates a ton of pressure, and the mangonel push won't be able to get into his base anymore. This is almost a situation where Valis needed rams. So Canada with the score lead. Hera, what is this boom? It is the 5 TC boom with the Britons. They're walled up, ready to defend against the aggression. But we have 103 vills for Valessa as he's up to Imp. We have Chris up to Imp as well, but feels like he was hurt a bit by this push and the dock from Rubenstock, as Ruben will be adding a forward castle and looking to break through into Hera's base. Hera, while he does have a huge boom himself, has not added stone walls behind this, so it'll just be a house and a couple palisades for the castle to break through. Ruben not up, though. To be fair, though, neither is Hera. But Hera will have a huge Vil lead over Rubenstock with all of those TCs. I mean, not to say Ruben's slouching on TCs himself, he has 4 of them. But it looks like the Knights have broken through the wall on the left. And these are more Knights here for Mentalist than Max has. Max just with up to Imp and with a pretty big Vil lead over Mentalist. this side just comes down to Slam. 39 crossbows. And Valis will have to defend here. Remember, no slinging, so you can't just give stone to Valis to build a castle and defend against this. Can't sling until Imp, and Slam's going to be dropping a castle right on his face. Going straight for the kill. Oh, Mangonel on the castle doesn't one-shot it. Oh, that was close. Oh, if that castle had been one-shot, that would have been insane. Monk goes down, and Mangonel's coming forward out of that workshop. No hole in the walls, and Slam has to delete the castle. He can't get it positioned there, and he's going to go for a nearby hill. A forward castle from Chris. Vil counts in favor of Finland. A lot of that's due to the max. And also Slam has had to invest so much into this defense with his crossbows that he now only has 59 Vils. Lowest in the game. He will be adding in his third TC right now. And he's going to try to return the favor by walling off the max. Going to stop this push from coming in. And, well, if he can just delay any of this, trebuchets themselves can cut around the sides of walls, but not that good at cutting through the walls directly. If he can get these walls up and stop help from the pocket, maybe, just maybe, they have a chance to close in, encircle, and kill Valis, but they have to be fast. Keshik's slow to get going. Yeah, he's going for Keshik's. The Treb is now popping out. I think the castle can hit some of that Vil, so he's going to be moving his walls back. Or can hit some of those walls. So he will be moving back, but same principle applies. He wants to get the wall up. Not let Max get the help that Valis will so desperately need. On the other side, looks like we're going to have a forward castle from Valessa. As, oh, that could be a good onager shot. And Chris not really in position there, and he just lost 3 onagers for nothing. This, potentially a cannon galleon pond if Chris wanted to besiege that castle. But Celts usually may be a bit slow to do that because they aren't going for chemistry for cannons. And getting attack rounds on some of the pikemen there. Do pikemen counter onagers in early Imperial Age? Probably not. And still normal onager for Chris. It's a nice splash on some of the Vils. But those onagers can cut through whenever they want. Hera, even losing a couple of longbows, needs to do only 9 range right now. He needs Elite for another range, Yeoman for another range, and then, I guess, Bracer? He has Bracer now, just finished it, so now he's up to 10. But that's only a 1 range advantage on those siege onagers, not quite enough to snipe them off in micro like you would want to. Finland is famous for early trade. Well, let's look at the trade numbers. Well, the max has 4 trade carts. And he is still besieging Slam's castle on the left. As Mentalist is up to Imp. And we have Schlachter privileges coming in for Rubenstock, as well as Siege Ram for Valessa on the other side. Castle for Slam taken out, and maybe this is the max getting there in time to help Valis hold. He's adding in Keshiks, and, well, maybe trying to get a bit of gold from them. Adding in the trade carts and the Keshiks, he really wants the gold generation, as we have a bunch of Mangonels here from Valis, and he might be going for Siege himself. We now finally do have Siege Onager from Chris on the other side, as he is sending an Onager over to help. This becomes very difficult for Chris to micro, as he needs to get his Onagers, seem to be Siege Onagers on both sides. And he's being pushed here from Valessa, and things are starting to look really good for Finland. They still have a slight Vil lead, but they have the map positional lead that they need over here. Onager shots not landing on the Woad Raiders. And great raid here from Valessa. Parrot now is stuck going with longbows against Siege Ram, where he would need his pocket to help out. He has to send Vils to fight. Onager shot getting in on the longbows. Siege Onager is able to deny the castle. And as Slam's castle is down, Valis finally has gotten Imp, and he's able to push out with some Onagers and help out on this side. And it's a big raid of Keshiks. Frankish Paladins eventually should win against Keshiks, but we now have another 2 minutes for that upgrade to come in. We have elite longbow for Hera, but he's getting pushed back. He has 128 vills and 4 military. And that is a group of 9 siege rams pushing into his base, and he has not put vills to defend from them. And Hera has at least ran a few vills and castles, so he can just not be defeated. But that's never a good situation when you're looking at not being defeated as a bright spot. And Timur's siegecraft for the mech, so he gets that extra range on the tribs. And Trebuchet's now hitting Slam's next castle. Tried to get out some Kameyuks. And still 45 seconds away from Paladin. And down goes the castle. And I think you just see that BF experience of Finland over here. Valas able to wall himself tightly while Max went for the castle age, then was able to come out and secure the map for the forward wall, stop Mentalist from helping, and even when they broke out, Max had boomed enough that he was ahead of Mentalist that whole game. On the other side, Hera didn't get... Well, he got the wall up, but then let Rubenstock break through. Disrupted Chris's boom on the pond. Chris tried to go siege to defend, whereas Valessa just had a nice, relaxing boom here. 26 fish traps as the Celts. Let's just take a moment. We're gonna just appreciate this. Look at the pure beauty of these fish traps in the water there. That's nice. So that will be 2-2. Finland tying it up. And this best of 7 will go at least 6 games. As we have Valessa with the Celts, as you might expect, with the most kills. Chris with the second most. That's how Celts work on BF. Hello there, John Wyatt. And Hera, once again, so that's 4 out of 4 games. Hera has the highest APM. That's a stat we're going to keep track of. Whoever wins and loses, we're going to... Hera... Well, I guess he's already received the most APM in most games award. So it'll be Finland to the west and Canada to the east. So it'll be Goths, Magyars, Franks, and Byzantines against Goths for Slam, then Magyars, Khmer, and Byzantines. All right, so Goths and Byzantines on the flanks. Then Frank Magyars versus Magyars Khmer. So what do you like more, Franks or Khmer as a pocket? Khmer probably better in the Feudal Age, and then Franks with the better late game transit, or the easier late game transition to Paladins. Khmer can also go for those elephants, which more expensive and harder to get to, but probably even better. But the Max again has a pocket Paladin civ, and that is a scary prospect for any opposing team. Frank with the castles, though, that's a good point, and the cheap castles can really lead to some interesting castle drops on Chaos Pit. So in the past, Canada has played Chaos Pit by basically just playing it clean and trying to defend the douches. You might expect Rubenstock to go for a douche, but it's a very mirrored civs setup. All of them picking civs that were kind of towards that bottom area, Magyars, Goths, and Byzantines. The one weakness of the Franks on this map is that they don't have bloodlines. They have the free HP, which brings their scouts from 45 to 54, but they can't get up to 65 HP in the Feudal Age. So if the Khmer player is able to get bloodlines and really get their stables pumping, then Canada could find themselves taking good Feudal Age control of the middle. And already a bit of a wall from Chris. Now this is a throwback right here. We have Chris playing the Byzantines. I mean this entire Canadian team. We got Chris from L Clan, Hera from AM, Slam from Tyrant, and Mentalist from Nadia's Boys. What a classic set of players there. So Finland is coordinating their scouts. They have all 4 scouts together, and they managed to pick off that Vil from Mentalist. His lumber camp was on the outside, but not yet walled in, as he was still trying to send more Vils over. We'll see Chris not going to the outside, putting a lumber camp in a weird position in the middle. Where we were disappointed Hera didn't build his lumber camp in the fun location on Nomad earlier. Chris is building his in the most fun location he could find here. As the Finnish scouts continue doing a tour of the outside, Hera also going for the middle. So Mentalist the only player who's in a position to chop out. Slam also going for the edge, but this is one of those things that I've noticed a bit as we watch more Chaos Pit, is that the edges are worse places for lumber camps than the sides, as you have an extra layer of tree to chop through. He's going to need to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4... However he goes through here, 4 or 5 trees at least instead of 3. So it will be longer to chop out. Weird he didn't send the Vil through to build it. Oh yeah, and have Vils on both sides. Yeah. Exactly. He should have 2 over here and 2 over here. Now he's getting stuck. This is if you read Chris's book from over a decade ago on how to play Age of Empires, he has some ASCII art showing where to place lumber camps. And he shows how to place them to avoid Vils getting stuck. And he probably needs to go and reread his old notes on how to build the lumber camps. And make sure his Vils don't get stuck. Vils on one side is safer against military. That's also very true. And well, here comes some military, as Max and Rubenstock are bringing their scouts around, but too many Vils there. They can't fight. And he'll have everyone in the game up to the Feudal Age, but Chris with the Byzantines will be up first. Oh, and Cupid, thank you for the sub. And thank you for sailing with the Baltic Fleet. And we have an X here, Rubenstock. He sees that, and looks like he wants to attack it. He's going to wall up to the edge too. For Finland, we do have everyone chopping wood on the outsides. Max needs to wall that. But the other thing I noticed when I didn't adjust this map too much, but now that I've seen it played a bit, I think if we do this again, I would move the stone slightly farther away from the forests so it doesn't block your chopping outside. The stone and the gold piles can do that. And Navalis running his Vil away. And Cool Mo, thank you for the follow. And Max trying to replace that house now with the stable to get this walled up. And again, Rubenstock Xing. He sees that there's a hole here. And Tona, thank you for the follow. Is this a mirror? It's not a mirror, it's Franks against Khmer as the other pocket. The rest of the civs were down at the bottom where each team picks those civs once on the civ draft. They are the leftover civs. And now we'll just have Chris going for skirmishers. Chris playing Byzantines is such a throwback. And he will be trying to pick off that spear and bring his own spear out to join the party. And hello, Svangard. And spears are getting some pokes on the scouts. Now looks like Rubenstock will be defending with a tower. Goths versus Byzantines, usually something that favors the Byzantines in my experience. There is that good, that classic game of Doubt making only skirmishers against the Goths, which is probably not how you want to play it, but if the Byzantine can get to gunpowder cataphract, the Goths don't have great answers to that. What is the sound effect when someone follows? I think it's just one of the default sound effects. If you mean the sub sound, that's from it's Age of Empires 1. It's either the dock or the fishing ship, one of those. There are now a couple of houses as Chris is coming forward and trying to tower rush to get through this wall. That little bamboo tree might be annoying. They'll have to house wall behind it. And Valessa trying to defend with skirms, but the tower is up. Not much HP on that palisade, but at least it did get some. And there is at least a second layer to this. Now everyone adding in their scouts. Looks like everyone's just converging on this one location in the middle of the map. All the pockets adding scouts. Magyars with their cheap scouts, hoping to get out as many as they can. And at this point in the game, the Franks with their extra HP early in Feudal will have a pretty good advantage. And we'll see how long this game remains in Feudal and whether Mentalist is able to get Bloodlines in. Nice market in the back from Valis, just trying to keep this walled up. And thank you, Zenowak, for the follow. As Canada starting to take an advantage and push into that stable. X in the middle here as the spear is getting a poke. And it's... remember, you don't have gold in the middle. You need to chop outside to get gold. And that's why Byzantine's Goths are picked. It's for the spear skirmisher fighting and for the flank to do something useful against all the scouts because you don't have the gold for archers. And Max outside already? The Max is outside and he has found gold. So maybe not as exciting as for the Franks as other civs who could do bloodlines. Spanish might be an interesting civ for this map in the new patch if they can do bloodlines without needing to mine gold. Magyar Hindustani? It could be. I think Hindustanis have kind of fallen off a bit now that their vills don't have the same discount. Just a huge scout fight in the middle. And Max still afraid of all those spears. Slam playing the Goths and just adding in his spears. These two civs with so Byzantines and Goths just making the cheapest spear army anyone could imagine. Is it worth it to go over to the other side and wall them out? Well, Valessa thinks it might be. He is right there, right on cue. And as I said, Slam has to chop through so many trees to get out when he goes on the corner, and Valessa's gonna wall him in. Great outpost there. He knew where the lumber camp was, and just gonna hold Slam on the inside. Looks like Mentalist should be out on the right. There's already a spot, and he's going for some stone walls. And with his scouts, he will be catching Valis trying to sneak some vills around. Rubenstock is Xing over here, so it looks like they know that they're out on that side. Rubenstock himself is out and just going to go for some quick palisade walls, maybe fortify that later. In the middle, though, still a big scout fight. Franks may be getting overwhelmed in numbers, though. And as the Khmer, as nice as the berry bonus and the longer-lasting farms are with the free horse collar for the Franks, they're not going to match the same efficiency as the Khmer farms from Mentalist. He has 14 of them already, compared to now 13 from the Max. You do get 2 berry patches here, so that's another nice thing for the Franks. But this is going to be another watchtower coming forward. And looks like from Chris again. So Chris, tower rushing the opposite flank. They're still trying to find a way to breach this wall, but Finland won't yield. As Valessa will counter with his own tower in the back. And we have Castle Ages on the way. Castle Age for Slam is the flank. And then Valis is the pocket. Interesting to see the flank going up so fast. That's the KD. Now, Eco KD, no one's really lost vills. But overall KD, looking pretty good for Canada, honestly. The Max has a good KD, but otherwise, Rubenstock, Valessa, they've just been losing units. And you can tell how Canada really has that military advantage. They're going to try to snowball. But great job from Finland reacting to this and still getting their walls up. and also getting up to the castle age a bit faster. So maybe losing some of those early fights just in favor of going heavier on the eco for the faster castle ages. They will drop in vills now, but that'll be because they're spending the TC time on the way to the castle age. Need to find more ways to wall this though. Max is just gonna send everyone off of those farms to now build another defensive tower and keep Canada out. We're seeing bloodlines there from Hera as the Magyars. And watchtower up. I gotta think maybe pressuring these ranges could be an idea. Slam forward, he's almost up to the castle age, and if we look at his resources, he has the stone for a castle drop. And where's he gonna do it? This map is controlled by those towers from Chris, and I think he wants to put it right here, right on the Max's face. Just as the Max is getting up, he'll lose his stable. And there it is, ready to actually break through on 2 players. Get through the walls towards Valessa and again towards the Max. It feels like he has a campaign base almost with the towers defending the walls. We'll have more scouts from Hera running about. Gonna pick off a few spears here from Rubenstock. And Hera, well, this is what you expect from Hera. So many scouts, but the scores are flipping back and forth like crazy as now Canada's getting up. We'll have bloodlines in for Mentalist. As we're going to have another layer of walls from Valessa, just trying to contribute whatever he can to keep his team safe. Walls need to go through the farms of the Max, though. And that... Oh, and those are petards from Slam. He's going to break through, and they're going to want Hera with all of those scouts. He gets up to the castle age, and we see light cav being queued right away. On the outside, as that's going on, we do see walls here. Mentalist needs to make sure the bottom is walled. And we will see walls on the other side being added in, but harassed from a scout. At the same time, though, Hera is breaking through, and that house is almost down. The walls from Valessa will not be in time. Maybe just getting a bit of HP there could have been useful. But Finland, their wall is down. In the south, Valas will react by walling himself out, and now the Max is going to migrate, and he's going to head straight to the outside of the Chaos Pit. He'll have to wall behind himself.
Okay.
And he needs to tap those foundations in time before the light cav get in. Thank you, Lunatic Tom, for the follow. And that he does. Same thing here for Valessa. He'll use his lumber camp and get the walls up. Needs to be careful not to let the light cav in through that gate when it gets finished. And Hera's gonna be trying to run in. And immediately locked. Would be nice if you could lock gates while they were under construction. That'd be a interesting quality of life feature. But, oh, now not just that stone wall, but also a tower here from Valessa, so Slam not going to get outside anytime soon. And also, weirdly enough, Hera stuck on the inside, as Slam has had to come to the outside by going all the way over to through Mentalist space. And... nice light cav here from Mentalist. Not gonna let Rubenstock get out and expand the walls. What's the red spots near... Oh, that is Rubenstock. And that is Rubenstock being sneaky and not spotted. He has a few spears, but Canada does not yet see these stables. And Mentalist will scout this one. But if he scouts that, does that mean he's going to ignore this one? Which could get some knights here to harass Hera. And yep, he's immediately queuing the knights, but Mentalist will spot that. Might be surprised by this one, though. On the inside, though, Hera continuing to break in. Avalas trying to defend walls with his mangonels. It is just houses, though. It's not the sturdy stone walls from earlier. And a couple of petards from Slam could get them through again. This is where they might want to prepare some stone walls on the spots they've cut through just to be extra safe. Especially sending a player to help out Rubenstock here. You don't want the Goths adding in palisades and all of a sudden the palisades get breached. So Canada with the score lead, but Finland with the Vil lead. They're losing control of the middle, but the outside is, in some ways, the valuable area on Chaos Pit. It's where all the extra resources are. And now, Rubenstock is going to have a knight in on Chris, who does a great job of quick walling. And maybe Rubenstock letting the knight out a bit early. Probably needed to amass 4 or 5 of them so that he could actually attack palisades and do some damage. But he will get in and might get a Vil kill, but he'll get 2 Vils as Hera traps the knight with the walls. And, oh, gets the kill over the diagonal. Thanks, DE, right there. And Hera, attempting to delete his palisades, deletes the mining camp. We saw that, Hera. We saw how you're trying to get the most APM. For the 5th game in the row. And up, quick wall there from Hera, though, just in time, successfully clicking to keep the knights out. And Valessa up to the castle age. That's everyone up to the castle age now. Scores are still close, but remember, close because Canada has a pretty big KD advantage. Okay, we'll check out those KDs again. And yeah, like everyone other than Mentalist here is positive. Only the Max really doing well for Finland, but Finland will be well ahead in the boom. They're up by about 40 Vils, and they have their ecos established on the outside. They're walled, and they're safe, and they're getting even more walls behind the lumber camps. But, oh, there's an opening. And quick gate, not in time, but now up. Only 1 Harskarl gets in. Alessa noticing just in the nick of time. And that 1 Huskarl will be annoying. I don't think Valessa has any actual military units here to defend, other than maybe skirmishers. And that might be the most annoying Huskarl in the world. As, what is Rubenstock doing back here? He has not just a stable, but a TC. And he has more knights raiding in the back. Rubenstock. His Vil made it all the way to the quarter, and he's just going to have more Vils once that TC goes up. And over here, look at how forward the walls are for Valessa. We might have a push here for Mentalist in the south. Rubenstock's in a position to defend. He has out his pikemen. It will be Khmer with Scorpions trying to push the Goths. And again, this is the Goths not able to stone wall. And no trade for Canada. Oh, Canada could trade, like, from here to here, but that's depending upon their ability to clear out Rubenstock. And is Rubenstock revealing his hand too much with these forward knights? I mean, I'm not going to question Rubenstock's ability to sneak and harass, and I love the TC to keep adding in more Vils. And the thing about the Goths is once you get up to the Imperial Age and you get perfusion, you add in a few barrackses, and you produce so quickly, you don't even need that many of them. And it's really hard to clean. I've had Slam do that to our team on Amazon Tunnel, and it's just once the Goths get going, they really get going. So defensive castle from Rubenstock here, and he's going to go double defensive castle in the south. Mentalist doing a really good job of taking the map control where he had those light cav earlier. And now it's going to be, can Mentalist clean up Rubenstock in the back as we have Imperial Ages starting to come in. We'll have 2 on Canada, 2 on Finland. Chris with the Byzantines being the first one up, whereas it's the Pockets who will be up for Finland, and the flanks up for Canada. So 2 different approaches there. As Slam trying to slam gate and make some monasteries, but not working out. Wanted to gate the knight away from the monk. And we'll get a few more Vil kills here. Will Rubenstock, as Canada may be closing the Vil difference just a bit. But now we have Chris up, but we will have also Valas right behind him. Valas going for some cav archers. And we see Mentalist in the middle, still trying to raid as Valas will get a castle up. But finally now, Hera is in. He's into the eco. He will see the ranges. He's going to go for, so we'll have Magyar CA from Valas, Frank Paladin from the Max, and this castle, 78%, but the light cav are on the Vils. Will it be denied? 97, 98, and at the cost of a lot of Vils, but he has over 120, he's fine to lose some. There goes the castle, so he can do his recurve bow, do all of the upgrades on his heavy cav archers, and it's not going to be double paladins. It will be Finland taking the lead, as now some knights from the Max are getting in on Hera. Where did they enter? Looks like it might have been some maybe holes in the walls near their Goths player Slam. There is maybe a passage there. But anyway, the Knights are in, and they're raiding Hera. And Hera was over 100 vills, but now he's dropping again. And Diego, thank you for the follow. And archery range is in the back. Hera's going to try to go for those cav archers too, but he will be delayed fewer vills than Valas and not quite on the same timing with the transition. He's just now clicking up to the Imperial Age, and it's going to be a while before he gets up and does his upgrades. And Barakadur and Power Morta FPS, thank you for the follows too. Rubenstock has finally been discovered in the corner. What, he has gated himself in. He's going for another TC. Just gonna boom up in this gated community back here. And again, he is the Goths. He's getting close to Imp. If he can ever get just a few barracks out, and there he goes with the pikemen. Goths are so hard to clean up. Valas going to do a brutal domination. And, well, this was, remember, Canada's first map pick. And I started off by saying it felt like a strange pick against Finland. But they went for it. And here they are, the cataphracts from Chris. There's one unit I love to see, it's cataphracts, but they probably don't want to be fighting fully upgraded Magyar heavy cav archers. Even Byzantine paladins probably do better in that situation, but he is killing a lot of vills. Rubenstock, though, 116 vills. Everyone on both teams is boomed up. Just feels like Finland probably has the better map position. And you have a light cav getting in, but Rubenstock is still here in the corner. Barrackses? I guess it's probably just barracks is the plural too. And, well, just pikemen here as Slam will try to send over some Huskarls. This is so difficult to clean, and we have Imperial Age on the way. And we also have that Paladin upgrade as the max. As the Franks, he wants to pump those pretty purple pocket Paladins. And the fight in the middle, getting clean for the moment. And, well, Canada still does feel like they have control of the middle of the map. It's just the outside. Where are they going to trade? Finland already starting to add in their trade. The max with 10 trade carts. And, well, Slam here. Maybe the only way to stop a bad guy with the Goths is a good guy with the Goths. And Slam's going to come over and try to get enough Huskarls out to deal with these forward buildings. But villagers still there for Rubenstock. That TC to spawn more will be so annoying. And the monastery going down. It's going to be a castle drop here from Mentalist. Siege Workshop, though, for Rubenstock. You could maybe get some cannons out and defend against the castle. He's able to get chemistry. To the south, looks like Valos just trying to be as annoying as he can with a cav archer here and there. But now it's going to be a push from Slam coming to the opposite side and moving his Huskarls forward. Huskarls should be useful against the heavy cav archers. Even though with 12 attack and 10 armor, they will do basically twice as much damage as most archer units do against the Huskarls. So you'd much rather have the cav archer than an archer civ here. Now, Vil count's still close, score is still fairly close. Canada just needs to clear this in order to get trade, and looks like that's what Slam might be able to do. I like how he's going straight for the TC to stop the Vil production rather than worrying about the barracks or the other buildings. There's a couple of halves are coming out, but nothing to worry about. And once that TC goes down, Rubenstock... Oh, wait, he's those 2 Vils hidden in the corner. He's got Vils everywhere. I'm surprised he's not, like, trying to chop his way out over... I'm just thinking, what if that workshop made an onager and cut those Vils free and he could run to survive another day? Anyway, in the middle, it's going to be those paladins from the Max and all of their purple glory going to be trying to take a fight against these Byzantine cataphracts here. They're not elite, so not really able to stand up against the paladins. And once again, a low Pierce armor unit that's not going to like fighting those heavy cav archers. Yeah, and has the damage been done by Rubenstock? Does Finland have all of the map control on the outside? Like, look at these walls. They are breached, but not too hard to repair as Valesa's getting up another castle. And they will have control of most of these extra gold and stone mines. If we look at the relic count, wherever that is, it is 4 for Finland compared to 2 for Canada, so they have an advantage there too. But Slam now trying to return the favor and get some Huskarl rating of his own in. And it looks like Valesa, it's now his turn to go Cataphracts, but he has elite Cataphracts. And if there's one thing that can deal with the Goths, it is the elite Cataphract. Canada's still trying to hold. I think if Finland can control this corner, they're in a great spot to win the game, because then Canada doesn't have a trade route. They already control the other 2 corners, and their armies here should just give them security to get that better trade. I mean, it's in the late game where it's going to now be Paladins against Khmer Cavaliers. And unless the Khmer player can make that elephant switch, but they'd need trade to pump them out, and right now Finland has the trade advantage. The Cataphracts getting some kills on the vills on these mining camps. Arrows going skirms. And we're going to have more Cataphracts just slaughtering these Gothic Halbs from Slam. Halbs don't stand up to Cataphracts. Look at them go. More Cataphracts on the way from Valesa. And it's going to be Ballista Elephants here from Mentalist, but is that enough to deal with the Cataphracts? Slam has another infantry army that's just waiting to be slaughtered. And here come the Cataphracts. I believe they're fully upgraded, and down go Slam's infantry. Nothing more satisfying than Cataphracts slaughtering the Goths. And that's what we're gonna have here. Maybe the Ballista Elephants can turn the tide, but they're gonna need a lot of them here. There's not much Slam can do other than spam Halbs and hope it's enough. Yeah, the Cataphracts just don't die. And the best thing that you can do here is you do kind of need Halbs as a meat shield with ranged units behind them. Right, Cataphracts, once they get going, are a really strong unit in these situations where you're fighting the Halb player. There are some raids coming in, though, from Mentalist. Looks like he's able to raid maybe through the middle if he got through that gate. Just getting a couple of Cavaliers into the back. And Cavaliers all getting around the Paladins. And now, wait, Rubenstock! Rubenstock's still here! He still has 2 Vills alive! They cleared the TC, but they didn't find the Vills that were hiding in the corner. And Rubenstock is still alive with Huskarls. It's like I said, you can't clean the Goths, they produce too fast. Rubenstock is still there. He still has room to make a siege workshop, do some cannons, and try to take out that castle. And Finland pulling ahead in score, Canada's dropping in Vills. And the ram push is on the way, getting into the castle. And down goes Slam's castle. The Cataphracts too much for the Goths to deal with. Chris is the Byzantines. He has 12 Cataphracts of their own, but look at that, they're just Cataphracts. They are not elite Cataphracts. I don't know why Capture Age brought me here, but there is a Cataphract killing a Vil there at least. Is there a push here? Hera running around with his Cav Archers, trying to push in along with Chris. Chris going trash units, but it's a lot of trash units against the Cav Archers and Paladins. Paladins coming in from the rear, though, about to trap the skirms. And probably get in on those 2 Trebs. Those will be Trebs going down from Chris. And the Halbs are grouped up with the Cataphracts. He can't really take the fight he wants. And it looks like still some blacksmith upgrades even missing from Canada. Finland, I guess missing some too, but looking a bit better on theirs. I think they have the ones they need. As in the middle, still some Huskarl raids from Rubenstock. Rubenstock is just everywhere. Looks like finally he might be clean, but it's a big commitment of army that has to come back here as those Vills still trying to make barrackses. But Rubenstock finally he might be clean. They need a ranged unit to hit the Vills. But finally they'll go down, and Canada will call the GG. But just after killing that last Vil there from Rubenstock, GG, and Finland takes the lead 3-2 for the first time in this series, winning a game on Canada's home map. And what a game that was. Thank you, Deep Stir, for the follows. And we will have military for Valis with those Cav Archers carrying the game. Alessa, lots of kills with the Cataphracts. Rubenstock was just Rubenstock, and then the Max did the Paladins from the pocket. And Java VA, thank you for the follow. They're just happy enough to clean him from the corner that they're finally ready to call the GG. Best eco there for Valis. And even with the lowest eco, Rubenstock still finding ways to contribute. He got a lot of sling too. In the Imperial Age, you can sling. And why not live green? Thank you for the follow. Terror fastest feudal. Most exploration for mentalist. He really got around the entire map. And 170 Khmer villagers. And APM, is it going to be Hera again? It is Hera again. Once again with the fastest APM. And Matthias, thank you for the follow. And here we are on Team Islands. To the west, we will have Finland, and to the east, we will have Canada. And for Finland, it'll be Saracens, Burgundians, Italians, and Sicilians. For Canada, it'll be Sicilians, Portuguese, Aztecs, and Vikings. All right, Aztecs from Mentalist. Feels like a landing civ. Now, Viking, Portuguese flanks makes sense. Portuguese late game for the Vitorias makes a lot of sense. No Bengalis here, which also a good water save that gives you the trade bonus. Now, Mentalist has done some landings with Aztecs, and I have seen a couple teams do this. I think USAB pulled off some nice Aztec landings before. Sicilian's also a landing civ, so we could see a double Sicilian Aztec landing here from Canada. Burgundians, a great fish booming civ. Then, of course, Vikings from Chris. Saracens have faster firing galleys and their market bonus. Usually I do favor the cheaper galleys of the Vikings if that were to come to a 1v1. And same thing, Vikings against Italians. I do usually favor the cheapness of the Viking galleys there. To the north, the Portuguese slam. Well, what can you say about Portuguese on Team Islands? Their ships cost less gold. Their ships have more HP. They have a unique tech that gives their ships more armor. They have the Caravel if there's ever a situation where that is needed as a unique unit. And then, of course, they have the Pretoria. So when the wood runs out, they will still have a way to get wood. Saracen transports with the Sicilian ally, that's true. Maybe a little known bonus about the Saracens, but their transports get +5 garrison capacity. And we do see Rubenstock going forward. When it comes to ratings, I don't think ratings tell the story of the two teams on this map. I think this all comes down to tournament preparation and strategy. And I mean, both of these teams are players who've been playing for many years. So like at different times, we've had Chris be at the top of the ladder, Hera be at the top. We've had Max doing very well too, Valessa and Valis both extremely talented players, kind of playing more active nowadays. And also thank you, Nakus, for the follow, if I didn't read that earlier. So we'll have the side dock from Rubenstock. So side docks normally indicate you're just looking to be more defensive and stop the enemy from getting to your pockets fish. We'll have the back dock from Valis. And Ishandagar, thank you for the follow. So back dock from Valis, forward dock from the Max with Sicilians, which normally indicates you want to go for a landing. The same from Hera, the forward dock. And then back dock from Mentalist. We have seen Mentalist kind of boom up and go for the landing later. Now, Aztecs on the water have to be going for the fast fire ships in the late game because they don't have galleon. And of course, they don't have cannon galleons either, but at least you have other teammates who can do that for you. The rest of the team, all really good water civs, Sicilians, Portuguese, Vikings. All top tier Vikings with the cheaper ships will save a lot of wood throughout the game, which will matter a great deal if it goes late. No neutral islands to put ranges on? No, not on this map. That is on normal islands, not on team islands. As Wessel will be fishing, doing loom at just about the same time as Chris. And if Vikings do manage to get up at the same time as the Italians and get out at least 3 to 4 fishing ships, then I usually really like the positioning of the Vikings. It's just so much easier to keep the docks running with their wood discount. Applauding the map scripters for having balanced wood on both islands. Well, I did make adjustments to this map, but at its core, it was a map that we just took from the definitive edition, and the main adjustment I made was to get 3 relics on each island instead of 4. Which 4 relics is really easy because you just got to place 1 for each player, but 3 was quite the challenge to figure out. What I basically had to do is I had to... Oh wait, we have a transport here for Mentalists from behind. I had to basically put an object on all of the player TCs for each player to define an actor area, put a single object in one of them to form an actor area on one of the islands, and then do a flood fill with actor areas to get 3 relics on one island in the actor area and 3 on the other, avoiding that. So if you don't know map scripting, you have no idea what I just said. But it was...
But nay.
it was quite unnecessarily difficult to get that. So Mentalist wanted to go forward to land, but the Max is here first. Do they have 4? Oh, do they have 4? This is broken then. This is actually the first time I've seen that broken. And that's weird. Well, oh well. We should, gotta call an admin re now. Too late for that. As I said, that was unnecessary. This is the first time I've seen that. In several hundred maps that I generated to test that. I just lied to you. Exactly. I didn't lie to you, but I just... You know why? It's because the islands are so close together. I never thought they needed more distance between them there.
Okay.
That means I need to make the map generate slower and make the actor areas smaller. Well, I clicked the generate random map button. I did have 100 different maps where I checked that. But I did automate the checking, so it might have been... I didn't actually look at the maps to check it. It might have just been that random map generation bug. Yeah, rigged last game. And they do have Burgundians, you're right, so they will get the food from it. Maybe we'll just steal a relic. Oh my gosh, I gotta add this to my list of rare bugs on the maps. The unfortunate thing is I can't just generate the exact same seed in the editor, so I can't go and debug this. If Canada loses replay. Yeah, tell Canada they gotta go on a relic heist. Anyway, we will have a galley war on the side, and Chris pushing back, actually. Falling back to his docks. Just gonna give some room for Valessa to have to come forward away from his docks and get the reinforcement advantage. On the other side, it looks like Slam he might be jamming over on Rubenstock, as he's gonna take out the rest of our red players' fish, and now potentially sail to the pocket. As I said earlier, you want to be on the side to protect your pocket. And now we have a fire ship from Hera So even if Rubenstock does sail around and try to get to Mentalist, Mentalist will be up to probably the Castle Age by the time they sail all the way around if he goes up soon. If you look at the resources. Did he just click it? Oh, actually he didn't. Interesting. Well, he's just defending then. He managed to wall in the stable fairly well, and we just have a scout stuck there, and he'll be defending against the barracks now. Finland, when I've seen them play this map before, they didn't go for landings, they just tried to defend. So it'll be Hera with the Sicilians forward, and these galleys will search for fish in the back and find nothing. And as long as Chris is winning the water forward, then he'll be able to send a round of galleys back to clear the only 3 from Rubenstock. As Slam is forward, he's now taking out Valas's fish. Valas down to 4 fishing ships, and Slam will now head around to... Let's see, there's no more fish back here. 2 more he could find there if he's paying attention, and he is paying attention. And he gets 1, and then a second. Yeah, it's unlikely that 1 relic will matter in a team game. The worry would be like if a Lithuanian player could get all 4 of them. Now, this is something I might be able just to debug and fix before the next round of games. So it's good that we at least notice that. I also don't like making changes this far into the tournament, so it might just be something we gotta pay more attention to when we start looking at the map. As now I know to check for the migration wood lines. It feels like this... Let's see, 7 against 10. Feels like this will be a win for Chris. It can be hard to tell how many galleys... Ooh, look at that dance move there. That little spin. We'll have another landing from the Max. Chris is fully just walled like a potato on his home island. As his landing is being cleaned up, but he's going to run right into a tiger. We'll be able to kill it. It will be annoying as he has to get up a stable. And actually, he's not going to kill it. He's going to wall it out. Now, he's going to build a zoo and trap it. He's going to use a stable to... Or no, he's not. He's going to move the stable over. And just palisade there instead. So Hera's landing looks like he's still forward with Vils, doing bloodlines and going to the Castle Age. If he does have space here, he might be able to drop a castle, as Canada is up now by quite a few villagers. We do really not have many more fishing ships here for Finland, and looks like Chris will finish them off. Chris, an old school player who definitely knows how to micro his galleys. As it looks like the few galleys from Rubenstock are being chased by a few fires here from Mentalist. And Chris even going to go back and make extra sure that they're safe. And wait, Slam's here too. Canada must have just done a complete loop around this island, and now they're just in the back of their own. I have a back dock too for Slam. I probably would not have noticed if I didn't talk about how hard it was to balance the relics. I know. But it's good that we grab that. As I can fix that, it's just going to make the map take longer to generate. And the villager goes down. Is that scout trolling the tower? You mean like the campaign thing where they debate the tower fire? I didn't see what you were pointing at. But now the Max has another landing. Looks like Finland hasn't quite spotted this. He is the Sicilians. I do wonder, though, what Hera wants to do now that he almost has the stone to drop a castle. He does have a few knights forward, and we'll be going for another house. Rubenstock sending a Vil forward. But it feels like Canada has some good map control. They're really pushing Rubenstock, taking him off of the water. What you want to do to the Saracens player, not let them get a good mass of galleys. And now Slam's going to start getting us around on this part of the island. Oh, Hera, though. Hera, not walled in like Chris was. And now this landing here from the Max might be able to do some damage, as it looks like Hera hasn't actually noticed. And all of a sudden, Hera's going to be losing Vils on his gold. He finally goes back to his TC. But how is he going to defend this now when he had all of his knights forward? And the Max, he is safely walled. So they thought they cleaned the landing, but they didn't see the second landing. And that's really gonna hurt Hera here. He tries to get the quick wall, but doesn't get it on the lumber camp in time. And he's just gonna be running his villagers. Right now, he's not actually on a wood line anywhere. He has, well, I guess he's on wood maybe forward somewhere. Feels like the Max now doing a lot of damage with this landing. Hera gonna start falling behind, down to 33 villagers now. If you look at the KD for the Max, it's 12-2. He's gotten 12 eco unit kills so far. And Mentalist maybe getting in with some crossbows now. But there's 4 TCs here from Valessa. He's ready to defend and boom. Out of this, Hera's entire eco dying to 2 knights. He just had absolutely nothing back here to defend against it. And those 2 knights might get in on Slam too. Looks like Slam is gonna, he's so far ahead on the water, he can switch to land and try to defend this. And this will be the Rubenstock strategy of your landing now gets a forward TC so you can add more villagers. The knights here even gonna kill some vills from Mentalist. Oh, the scout is debating the tower. That's what you were talking about, the scout by the stable. Yes, it is. Oh, like a campaign speedrun, getting the tower fire out of the way. The Max is just getting the patrol on his scout. We'll see. Finally, the crossbows come over and take it out. But that scout, he's been there trapped since the feudal age with that tower. A dancing scout. Now, a few crossbows still spread out in this eco. Maybe another landing here with another round of crossbows could hit stuff, but now Canada really has to worry about this TC here from the Max. They have water control, but they're trying to control the sides. Their lack of presence in the middle, Chris finally getting there, allowing that transport to succeed. Looks like Slam finally gonna add in a few knights. He'll have cheap knights as the Portuguese. They get their upgrades. And it'll be Slam who needs to come and clean this up. Hera now, he is getting castle drop where his landing is. He'll get a few Vil kills on that castle as it's trying to go up. But I don't think he's forward very much anymore. He still has a couple of Vils getting kills here on Valessa. Valessa down to 70 Vils, but Hera at only 47. Slam with a huge lead though at 91. And I guess the Portuguese player is, well, a good one for having that lead. We'll have another landing from Mentalist, getting a few crossbows here and there, poking over the wood lines. And if you can stop the wood income, you can stop them from getting back on the water. Finland suddenly ahead in Vils, and that all comes down to that massive raid on Hera. Not just putting him so far behind, but also stopping him from adding in more villagers. I do wonder if this is an opportunity where Hera might just want to redock and try to add more fishing ships to get more production. At least in the long run, he will have Sicilian farms. Is Hera better at 1v1s than team games? I think he's probably not used to playing all these different maps in team games the way a lot of the probably more experienced players are. And, well, Finland suddenly pulling really far ahead in terms of their Vil counts. What matters, though, a large part is the water control. And can they use water control to stop landings while also containing this landing? Mentalist's gonna need to play 1v1 basically against the Sicilian player, though, if his flanks want to stay on the water. Slam's here to help with knights, and even if you are the Sicilians, I think it's really hard to punish 4 players with a landing. Manganel is out as Mentalist wants to eat that TC. Just there are 10 forward Vils here now for the Max. Max is there to stay? Feels like it. And And if you look at his eco KD, 24-4. Mentalist, with all of the crossbows he's had over here, has only 3 eco kills to show for it. Maybe a lot of idle time. Hera has 14 kills himself, but it was just the timing of those kills, too, for the max, just as Hera was getting up to castle. And look at the stone count, not quite there for the max. Part of me wonders, maybe you want to be chopping the wood on Team Islands just to deny it from your opponent later. And we'll have both flanks for Canada up. And we'll have Valis and Rubenstock, so the northern side for Finland going up. That's a second Sicilian TC. Remember, they make their TCs faster. This will just be more forward vills. And a third player now as Valess is up to imp. Finland now with a 30 vil lead, but now that Hera's gotten 4 TCs up, he can really start booming back. And at some point, it's going to be not just Slam with Knights, but also Hera who can come and assist with cleaning this. Hera is still somewhat forward, has a few monks here. Just trying to get conversions on vills. Chris going for a militia line and landing. Now he could do that as the Vikings, and he is doing it as the Vikings. Longsword against the Italians as Hera's in with some Cavaliers. And even though Hera got raided, he's just been here all game finding little spots to fit his cabin to get those raids. And now it's going to be a Viking ram and champion push here from Chris. Adding in some pikemen too. Gonna try to teach Valessa a lesson with his new men-at-arms. How do champions hold up to Crustier? Probably not all that well, but Slam's forward with some knights too, and they might just keep trying to land and add in attacks here and there. It looks like Slam is ready to protect Hera from the max. Hera has a teammate now, he's not going to fall for the same trick twice. And this will be another TC added in for the max. One thing that the max can do, he can make 5 TCs forward, delete his home TCs, and then do First Crusade, and all of a sudden... Yeah, he's trying to add in the TC for First Crusade. He's only going to have 4 TCs in total, but it'll be some sergeants here to defend against the champions and some sergeants forward to raid. Now he's going to try to rush up this TC before First Crusade comes in. Will he make the mistake of only having 4 TCs? He's got to send all of his vills over here. Will they make it? Can I select both of them at the same time? I won't see the progress bar. More vills on the way. And no, he doesn't get it up in time. Oh, he canceled First Crusade and he's doing it again. He's waiting for the TC. He's paying attention. So he'll have 3 forward TCs and 2 back TCs for First Crusade. Now the pikemen are here for Mentalist. Those won't really fight the sergeants all that well. Will the sergeants pop out in time to fight the Cavaliers? And does Max have the upgrades? He doesn't really have the upgrades for them at the blacksmith. They don't have all of their attack or armor. But underneath 3 TCs, garrisoned with a lot of vills, and a castle fire garrisoned too. Cavalier, at least they do have their armor, so the TCs will only be doing 1 damage. But now the Trebs are popping out for Mentalist. Canada with a pretty big score lead. So many techs being clicked. Garland wars all the way that the techs are blocking the scores. And now we have Chris forward with 2-handed swordsman. Can't get the castle foundation placed. Still don't think Vikings with only pikemen can really fight off the Crustier, but maybe the war galleys will do a good job of helping out. Here comes Rubenstock though. Looks like our Saracen player is getting back on the water. As the Max is pushing, or is getting pushed by Chris. Chris trying to push into his base. Chris, still lots of gold, but hasn't managed to get the champion upgrade researched yet. Still on 2-handed swordsman. But Max dropping down to 76 vills. Canada now retakes the vill lead, up by about 50 or so, 500 to 450. And as the Max is getting cleaned, this looks like it might go to a Game 7 on Arena. And Canada, they've gotten to their spot. They've controlled their map. They have some water control still, and they will have Portuguese. We don't see the Vitorias being added in yet. Sometimes I think that players add them in a bit too early. But as long as they have some way of dealing with Rubenstock on the water, feels like they're in a good spot. But then again, that is a lot of Saracen galleons, now up to 42. It will be, looks like fire ships from Hera, and then continuing a Portuguese galley line from Slam. And, well, Portuguese, who wins Saracens Portuguese? The Saracens fire faster, the Portuguese have more HP, and they have a unique tech where they get an extra armor. So I don't actually know which line wins in this fight. I think they're the two best galley lines in the game, but I'm not sure who wins in a fight between them. And, well, with the fires coming out from Hera, they're getting a nice surround on Rubenstock. These are fast fires now, and he doesn't have a castle to fall back to. He fell back to the wrong area of coastline there. Falling back would have meant going into Slam when he wants to micro away. And this will be a great fight here as Slam is up to about 25 ships, but the fires are forcing Ruben back. We have guilds now for Slam, preparing for the long haul on Team Islands. And on the south, looks like Mentalist wanted a castle, has a few vills that can finish it once Chris ends up winning this side of the water. It looks like he's going back for it. And Slam may be getting pushed here a bit, but that's a lot of fires now from Hera. And it'll be a 2v1 fight on the water again, as Elite Cannon Galleon on the way for Slam. And I'm still looking for his plus... He has +2 compared to +1, so I think he did do his unique tech. Yeah, +1 melee, +1 pierce. The melee armor actually protects him from fire ships too. And now the cannon galleons are out, and Rubenstock's going to start repairing that castle. And that might have been a misclick if he tried to right-click the cannon galleon, but clicked past it. And cannon galleons are not fast at taking out castles, but they do damage over time. We have another landing, though, as Valis finally trying to get back on the middle, throw up a forward castle. Landed with a lot of Christier, but Slam is there, and he's prepared. There's a quick gate, trapping Slam on the outside. One Vil will survive. He needs to be hunted down. Looks like he will be by a converted Christier. And we still should have some Trebs or some siege around. At least there's a ram now for Mentalist getting ready to clear this. And looks like Canada has this contained. Mentalist trying to wall in one more villager. And that gets deleted as the walls are up. A few more villas trying to run and wall themselves in. And looks like we have some hand cannoneers and Christier being transported by Rubenstock and a couple of Trebs. So he's trying to keep that castle up as well as he can. Doesn't get the wall he wanted though. And the Trebs are out, one from Slam, one from Mentalist. Over here, it looks like another castle was up for Rubenstock, but now we've gotten up to 4 elite cannon galleons for Slam. And he will be taking that one out and going for the next one. And we'll look at the relics. It is 4-2. But at least the map is bugged in a way that it looks like Canada will probably not lose due to it. The castle is finally facing a number of cannon galleons that are capable of killing it. So big galley fight over here, but Vikings against Italians. Italians at this point will get shipwright and be able to pump out their galleons faster. So actually they might be favored against the Vikings here. Now it's gotten to the late game. I do wonder if Longboat is worth it against pure galleons, but usually I just see the galleons and Vikings. And here's the rest of Rubenstock somehow sailing down here. And there's Chris losing a couple of cannon galleons for free. And Chris will have to hold 1v2 for a while. Don't trickle cannon galleons. It feels like At some point, you get to the AI Navy, where they add cannon galleons to their actual Navy. And they fire the slowest moving projectiles you could ever imagine. And here come some fires from Hera, just gonna patrol in and help take a good fight down here. So finally, it is a 2v2 on the water again, with the Vikings and Hera needing to turn and fight eventually, but there he goes. And this should be a pretty good fight here for Canada. Valessa losing a lot of his navy there. It's another castle attempted to go up from Valas, but that gets denied. Canada now has control of their own island. They have control of the water for the most part. And looking at the trade numbers, both teams starting to add in trade. Fairly even overall, I'd say. Maybe a bit more for the Italians player. It's cheaper for them to add it in. Actually, maybe slightly more for Finland. But the real question is when the wood runs out, which we haven't gotten there yet. When do we get the Fetorias from Slam? At some point, your villas become completely useless, and you're just going to build Fetorias. And he's still fighting the Saracens player. But extra HP and 1 extra armor. What is this? 54 to 57. I'll have to do some testing of Portuguese versus Saracens galleons. I would guess the Portuguese have a slight advantage, but I don't actually know that for sure. Heavy demo for Ruben. Alright, he might just be going pure heavy demo at this point, trying to make something happen. Now the cannon galleons get added in from the back, and they can start pushing the docks away. And as you push the docks, you make Rubenstock add them in farther back, as you see him doing, which means the reinforcement distance is just going to move towards the back corner of the island. And then you can start cannon galleoning the markets. And, oh, we had a donjon in the back from the max. How'd that get there? Oh, it's gone now. Mentalist really just taking the role of the defender. You see Rubenstock needing to buy wood. Wood count's looking much healthier for Canada, although Valas and Rubenstock still do have a healthy amount. Another Sicilian castle there. I'm sure they'd like to cannon galleon down. This is going to be a big fleet here from Rubenstock, amassing 50 galleons and then heavy demos, but 62 galleons for Slam, and the cannon galleons to the rear. He can start hitting the market too. And hello, Q full stop. Maybe it was a very fun verb to say. Slam. The difficult thing sometimes is getting all of your ships to shoot at the same time, especially in these narrow choke points here. We'll have now another fight that looks like Chris is winning. This is where Chris, if you want to get sneaky, you transport your villagers and you start adding docks back here just to decrease your own reinforcement distance. You see Valessa falling back along the coast. One more valiant attempt at a landing from Valas, but we have the champions there from Mentalist to deal with it. He's trying to get through the house, and oh, he does get through. These are these Garland Warriors Aztec champions. Christier might try to find something else, and don't think there's any more to that landing from Valas. Just gonna run on through and maybe get some Vil or trade picks. Canada now working on taking out more of the castles. 6.5k wood for Hera, 4k for Rubenstock as the Saracens, and we have now a landing from Slam. A landing from our Portuguese player, and Slam. He has those Victorias in his back pocket. but not even going to need them. The Portuguese just an insane water sieve in their own right, even without their magic resource building. The Galleons will get a decent fight here. Bombard Tower may be a nice addition, but the cannon galleon should be able to take it out. Takes a lot of shots to go down, though. Slam has to be careful, doesn't really have army to support his landing. That castle foundation could be in danger. Forward cannon galleon may be in danger too. Needs to make sure that he's fighting. And still has more galleons coming in from the rear. In the middle, we now have a landing from Mentalist. He's forward with his Aztec champions. Not going Eagles, just going champions. You've had lots of attempted champions here from the Vikings and now from the Aztecs. And just goes to show how strong of a civ Portuguese are on Team Islands. And I can understand people wanting to go organ guns on Arena, but I'm always surprised when I don't see Portuguese prioritized very highly for this map. Will this castle go up? 86%. Slam needs to run the Vils again. He's almost gotten it. No Gambesons this patch, no. This is before Gambesons. Before Gambesons and before the updated fish traps. A few hand cannoneers though from Valis. Burgundian hand cannoneers should be pretty good against the champions. Lots of, I wonder why he doesn't want eagles. I feel like eagles just as a mobile raiding unit would be useful. And now we gotta look at the islands. How much wood is there? Not much left. A few clumps for both teams. And it might be close to Victoria time. A bit more trade for Finland. All the map control now in favor of Canada. At this point, Finland has more Vils, which might not necessarily be a good thing, because Canada has more military, and they're getting close to that 800 out of 800 mark. Hera making a switch into galleons of his own, so no longer going for the fires, as he will be researching Cavalier. And as they're fighting in the south and Hera's coming forward, he's also coming forward with a landing, doing a castle. And he'll be trying to spam out now some Cavaliers. And if you can get some Trebs and push that castle, that'll help give them a bit more of a hold on the island in the middle. But right now, Max still needing to contribute on the water. Those cannon galleons so far being in the back, doing a good bit of damage. I thought organs were the only unit the Portuguese have. The thing about the Portuguese is they're a good civ outside of all of the OP stuff they have, especially on a water map. I think they finally were tuned to be good on the land maps. When they first came out, I think they were pretty insane with Arquebus. I forget whether that had been nerfed at some point, but they're... The only reason people, I think, thought that Portuguese were bad was because Arabia was the most played map. In lots of other situations, Portuguese, I think, were decent. And now with their berry wood bonus, they're just insane. Imagine the Mangonel ship. I remember the Realms mod had a Mangonel ship. Why Valis is not on water? Well, neither is Mentalist. Both teams have one player just focusing on the land. Valis' role is to use the Custier to stop the landings. The trade's still heavily in favor of... actually, wait, no, never mind. That is swapped. That's a 65. Thought that was a 4. Yeah, actually, it looks like it might be in favor of Canada now. 65 trade for Hera. And just gotta start wondering. Slam, 56 eco population. And it is time for him to slam down 1 and 2 Fetorias. So it's time for Slam to reach peak Portuguese with his fully upgraded galleons, his forward castles for organ guns, and his Fetorias. Mentalist doing some fast fires? Not really too many though, occasionally. Oh wait, there's so many I don't see them. He has 11 compared to the... Oh, I guess the absolutely nothing of Valis. And, oh, maybe they do need more help on the water, as it does feel like Valessa and the Max, both going full Galleon, are starting to push back on this right-hand side. I think sometimes you can get a bit too enamored with the landing. That is a lot of... That's 18 staples from Hera. And it's important that you do not let them get back on the water. There are the fast fires, but might want to see Hera do another round of galleons. As Chris just going to destroy some stone walls, and I think the wood is now gone. Yeah, the wood on the islands is gone. The villas are going idle. Canada needs fewer villas and more trade, and they also need more Fetorias from Slam. There we go, 4 Fetorias from Slam. Chris has 104 galleons in queue. Yeah, you can't just look at the wood stats, you also have to look at the galleon queues. And that's 88 now, still for Chris. He's showing the strength of the Vikings even without shipwright. Mentalist, 140 vills. Maybe he's got to delete them soon. That's Christier, such a strong unit, though. And Valis is in a great position just to try to defend this landing. And this might end up being a wood game, as slowly but surely the other players on Finland are getting pushed back. And they're making a push towards the trade now, but this is such a big island. Not only does it come with 4 relics, but it comes with the room to add in extra markets. Hit sappers and transport the vills over. I mean, not the worst idea. The problem is sappers also makes you chop the trees faster, and there's no more trees to chop, so you lose some of its value as an eco upgrade. And Chris still trying to hold 2v1 down here. Deleting vills for him at this point is just giving him more space for galleons. And I really like it we can zoom out and see the water fights from afar. These castles try to take out some of the galleons. And, well, wood heist? Wood heist, better than a relic heist. A wood heist on Team Islands. Yep. Basically, villager attack. Their bonus damages count against the trees. So they're 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 gives them 15 attack against the trees. And with 20 HP, or some trees have 30 HP, it takes 2 hits for the villagers to fell them. Or to fall them. And then when you get sappers, the bonus you have against buildings applies against the trees, so they can chop the trees in 1 hit. It is the most minor eco bonus you can imagine, but it does have an effect. And there's the GG. Canada wins Team Islands. And we're going to Game 7. Game 7 on Arena. Alright, let's do this. Hera at 688 kills. Mentos, oddly enough, the Aztecs felt like he was doing a great job to control the landings early on, but had the fewest kills. Let's look at the eco, and now the big question: did Hera once again have the most APM? He did. This one is our final game of the day, Game 7, Canada versus Finland. Canada in the cool colors to the southwest, Finland in the warm colors to the northeast. Let's just make sure there are no holes in the walls. He jinxed us last time with the relic bug on Team Islands, but just gonna double check that arena is fully walled. I guess you could tower hop there if you really wanted to. But yep, once again, this is our Nations Cup arena. I made this so it doesn't have any back walls on it, so you don't gotta annoyingly delete them and accidentally delete your front walls. It will have the 1080 HP that DE has, not the more classic arena of 1800. So tower rushes are possible, and this is on the old patch still. So we will have Slam in the blue as the Bengalis on the flank, with Hera as the poles in the green playing as Slam's pocket. Chris will then be the cyan human pocket, along with Mentalist rounding out the roster as the gray Turks on the flank. Now for Finland, opposing Mentalist, we will have Valessa as the Slavs. Now Finland using Slavs on the flank, an interesting place to use them. I normally think of them as a pocket civ on arena, but I think it was Rubenstock who used them earlier, and pretty effectively at defending a Portuguese push. We'll then have Valas as the Bohemians in the pocket, playing in the purple, likely looking to boom and go for some Hoofnitzel later on. We'll have the Max as the Paladin Civ, the Teutons in the yellow as the other pocket, and finally Rubenstock as the Aztecs. Alright, Finland going for the Aztec player on the flank, and it'll be Aztecs Bengalis, which, a matchup where if the Aztec player can go Eagles, I think that's a pretty good matchup for them. Obviously, Monk versus Monk, they're both good Monk saves, but Aztecs with their bonus attack against Eagles should be pretty good. They have more base attack than the Scouts, too. So the armor for the Monk's probably not as effective as it would be for a light cav civ. Clearly they're playing for the siege towers. You can dream, right? So, in terms of siege onager civs, we'll have 3 siege onager civs and then Hoofnitze for Finland if it goes late. Humans without siege engineers would be the only siege onager civ here for Canada. This feels like a game that Canada wants to end early, with humans and Poles making strong late Castle Age pushes into early Imperial Age pushes. Getting the timing to work is tricky, but you get Schlachter privileges, and you get the Cuman boom, and then you push. If Finland can hold that, maybe they have the better late game composition. Although Aztecs do kind of fall off a bit in the late game and team games. Relics actually fair and all in the middle of the map this time. We'll have forward gold but backstoned here for Rubenstock. Forward gold but 2 other back resources for Slam were he to be pressured by monks. On the other side we have some X's. Doesn't look like either team put a trushing civ on the flank, so Teutons and Poles both in the pocket. So no, unfortunately no reason for Rubenstock to drush, noticing he were against the Teuton. And Xing on the gold there from Hera. And then now he's Xing the scout from the Max that is back over here. Now, always risky to go forward with your scout against the Cuman player, and they will be paying attention to that. Because all scouts get a speed boost and an attack boost when they hit Feudal, but the Cuman scout is even more speedy. And they hit Feudal so fast going for their Feudal boom. So big risk for the Max, and he might be losing his scout out here. And they're trying to block and get Chris the most time he can. This is where Slam needs to get out of the way and just let Chris go to work. And another 15 seconds and he'll be up. He needs to get to a gate, though. Will he get there in time? This is where you, Chris, you kind of want to run in forward and block and attack at the same time. Yep, and there we go. There's the Feudal Scout. And now the Max will be losing it. And couldn't get to Rubenstock's gate here. So Rubenstock will be looking to fight against the Bengalis. Do you hear that? No, I'm just saying there was one time we had a drush against when the Teuton was on the flank. They are very much in the pocket this time. And nice coordination by the scouts from Canada, getting an early win and using their cumin bonus to its fullest. Don't see any. We see some stone now from Valessa. So he might be anticipating the castle drop and then going for a defensive castle and relying on Slav's eco. Which they do have a nice eco with their farm bonus. Was nerfed a bit from the HD days. Chris just researched. Was he housed? He did research Loom. Alright, Chris. Your Vills now have 40 out of 40 HP. I guess it literally doesn't matter that you spent gold, because you're not going to spend the gold on anything else while you're booming, but ever so slightly inefficient. You'd like to think he has a forward siege workshop coming soon? I'd like to think that too. But you could also delay the loom until later. Max selling 100 wood for 70 gold and clicking up. So, okay, yeah, this is a thing you can do. You can skip building a mining camp if you long distance mine 30 gold, and then you sell 100 wood at the market, and you will get that 70 gold, which gives you just enough to click up if you don't do loom. So this will be a boom straight into 3 TCs for the Teutons, and the Max will be taking advantage of the cheaper farms. Looks like he did a 22 plus 2 up with his villagers. And Slam's still scouting. Rubenstock not making the same mistake that Max did, keeping his eagle inside of his walls. And the Max knows his builds. He lost the scout because he wanted more pop space, I'm sure. And we see that's 8 vills on gold here for Rubenstock. He's going up 29 vills. Is this a fast Imperial for Rubenstock as the Aztecs? Normally I think of Byzantines or Italians as the fast Imperial civs, but Aztecs can do it too. And it can be tricky to stop. But fast Imperial against the Poles gives you a very small timing window. Slam on a more normal Castle Age timing. Now I'm very interested in these builds here from Finland. You still lose the 100 wood? You do. You don't need to spend as much time gathering gold. It's because you're only long distance mining 30 instead of gathering the full 100. Now the scouts are fighting again, but it is 4 scouts for Canada and only 2 for Finland, so these 2 are going to try to run away. Ever see the Twist or Luke quiz? That was a fun one. What we should probably do is have me and Ornlu come up with a bunch of questions and see if anyone else can get any of them correct. I bet there's a bunch of weird things we could come up with. So here is the Castle Age for Rubenstock on 31 vills and a scout. This is very slow, and we'll see what he ends up doing. He hasn't built a barracks yet, and he's on stone, so this just feels like fast Imperial castle drop to me. And he's going to try to get enough map control. Pulls, though, a civ that has a very good late game matchup against the Aztecs. The Aztecs just can't hold up to the Schlachter privileges spam of Cavaliers. Garland Wars pikemen just aren't enough, and you can't really micro monks against that many units. Now, a few more seconds, and Rubenstock will be up, and then his eagle will absolutely destroy the scout in a fight. Slam's thinking about getting in, though. So the scout will run around. There is the monastery. And what is the second building? Monastery and siege workshop. Aztecs won't need chemistry. And this is going to be a fast amp here. On the other side, we will have a monastery for Mentalist. If you look at the resources, it is stone for Valessa and for Rubenstock and for Mentalist as the Turks. Now, with all of these scouts, can the castle go forward for Mentalist? If you could get one here between that gold and the main gold, that would be great in terms of forward castle locations. Still have safe stone and gold in the back. That'd be a really nice castle there. Want to see Teutonic Knights versus the Obuk? Yeah, you gotta go play the Jadwiga campaign for that. And now we look at the Vil counts. 51 Vils for the max. He's basically caught up to the cumin boom of Chris as Chris is clicking up. But now we have Imperial Age. Actually, wait a minute. Not only is this a fast Imperial from Rubenstock, it's a fast Imperial from Mentalist as the Turks. And there he goes forward for the castle. And it's going to be right on the gold. And yeah, just as I said, right here, controlling those two golds. And, well, fast Imperial from both flanks. This is the res. And wait, it's a triple fast Imperial, as we also have Valessa clicking up right away. And this is how they defended a similar push from the Portuguese before, with the Slavs as the flank, going for that castle, and then kind of booming behind it while also going up and trying to go slightly slower but with a stronger eco. There's one civ you can't do that against. Maybe it's the Turks with their early cannons. As we have some Janissaries from Mentalist as he's up, and we'll have the workshop out. And Valis is just going to be booming with the Bohemians. So not going to be a Bohemian Cav civ that can run in and clear this. It's going to be Hufnitza and Halb to defend against the Cumin Boom, as we now have an extra 4 TCs from Chris, but is now a bit behind in Vils compared to the max. So there's the safe castle from Rubenstock. Rubenstock not going forward, perhaps realizing there were scouts out and about. But now adding in the barracks, going for monks, going for spears. The Aztec monks, no upgrades, but that'll change as soon as the imp techs start to come in. It needs to change soon, though, as those 3 monks don't want to all waste a conversion on one scout. There's Sanctity on the way. Need 2 players to defeat Valessa fast enough. That might be what Chris is able to do. If he's cumin booming and goes fast. He's Xing because he has the gate open. But Valessa ran some Vils just to make sure he's safe and doesn't get defeated. And he almost got inside the gate here. But weirdly enough, holding the gate open will let the Janissaries maybe get through the weaker house and get in. But there's Valessa up to imp. And he's doing detonets so that his castles then will be cheaper. And as long as this castle stays up for that tech, it then will be much cheaper for him to repair. It'll be wood and stone instead of just stone. Overall, is it cheaper to be chopping wood and paying that? I don't know. But he's gonna feel it is, and Slavs also have good monks. How can you defend against early bombard cannons? You can do block printing and redemption. That's orange. That's redemption. So he's gonna be able to convert the cannons. Can't convert the trebs from distance, but can go for the cannons. And yeah, it's gonna force the cannon back, maybe to the other side of the castle. Yeah, Chris's name is Chris. You can tell because that's what he published his book as. And he gets the conversion on the cannon. cannon will be taken out by the murder holes, but the castle goes down, no trebs were added, and it's going to be another layer of walls here as Valessa eventually can get another castle in his back. And will be on 48 Vils compared to the 38 of Mentalist, who is on a timer to push before this eco kicks in. But he does have his trebs out, and the pockets are still booming. On the other side, we have Hera. He went for light cav, but light cav to clear Aztec monks when Aztecs have pikes out. We'll see how that works. As Slam is booming, he's on 86 Vils and he's up to Imp. And when he gets up to Imp, he's going to get another set of Vils out of the TCs. So everyone up to Imp right now. We're about 25 minutes in. I think the only one who won't be up will be Hera. And he's just going to have a super eco for doing that 99 Vils. And Canada taking a score lead. And a pretty big Vil lead too. As this fast Imp, well defended so far from Hera, but this is now the situation where Hera invests into defending from this. How does he now deal with the Max going for those pocket paladins? And the push might not have really killed Slam. Slam did a great job defending with those crossbows and fighting with Hera, but it's really just to give time for the Max to boom. And as Hera's been committing to this, he's still our only player who won't be in the Imperial Age, 111 Vils, but the Max is on 113 and he's already Imp. Push needed forward castle. And yeah, that's something you can do with the Aztecs, right? You can get the barracks, you can have a couple Eagles out scouting, and a couple pikemen to defend you while you get the castle forward. If there were a castle here and you were on the gold, then the trebs would still be working. Just like what we're seeing from Mentalist here, that forward castle pays off so early. Oh, but we have Valessa. He is running. He is running, but being caught out by Chris. And Valessa down to 36 Vils. He didn't make it away. He did run those Vils over here earlier, but he tried to run everything and just fortified wall in the back. To be fair, Mentalist has only 45 Vils himself, but is on 2 TCs already and does feel like he has the healthier reboom on the way. Hera now, though. This all comes down to the Max for Finland. Can the Max take a really good early Imp fight against Hera and win before the spam can come in? It is just light cav, and he is the Teutons. His Cavaliers will have that extra armor, but they are fighting under a castle right now. And at the same time, he's now pushing into Slam. A few monks are out, but Slam's getting halbs. And, well, things are looking good for Canada at the moment. The pushes here with the Turks on the flank, not really working out. I mean, not really. The defense here for the Slavs against the Turks, not really working out for Valessa. And this Turk push just so much more effective with that forward castle. And, I mean, all of this was opened up by the Max having that scout forward early when he knew he was against the Cuman player, and when his pocket had the Eagle that couldn't be out in Feudal. After that, Canada had the scout advantage, while the Eagle had to be in the base for Rubenstock. It was 4 scouts versus 2, and they knew it was safe to go for the castle drop forward on Valessa. And we did see that Hera Xing that gold very early on. I don't expect Bohemians to do much by now. Yep. It's now when they go for Halb Hufnitze. And, well, can he get a counterattack that's enough to clear the Turks? Mentalist is going to be microing those Janissaries like you were trying to take the APM award away from Hera. But now the Trebs don't really hold up. Artillery cannons work, but not Trebs. And one going down, but the cannon not having artillery yet. Siege Engineer is in for the Hufnitze. Chris not able to snipe them off, and the forward castle finally will go down. 24 Vils though for Valessa. And he's not going to be able to boom back. Few knights from Hera too, is that Schlechter Village wants to come in. He's going to help fight here, but it will be against Bohemian Halbs. He will deny a castle. And that Vil don't think will finish it by himself. As Ruben have Theocracy, I don't think I can check that here. That's a lot of Halbs now from Slam. And Canada looks like they're going to push in. And Ruben's going to try to micro, get the conversions on the different units. Let's see how many conversions he can get. He has 70 Aztec monks. He's just pumping them out from all these monasteries. Has a Scorpion. And he has gotten like maybe 6 or 7 conversions, but in come through the gate the light cav from Hera. After the monks have used all their monk juice getting the conversions, they can go and snipe off the trebs. And that'll be 1 treb going down, potentially a 2nd. And down it goes. He just deletes the light cav so they don't get converted. And, well, the Max and Valis still have the top scores, but can they push fast enough? Can the Finnish flanks have accomplished the booming while they're, or dying while their pockets boom strategy? As we do still have the highest score leads, and it's a pretty significant score lead for them. And, well, the longer Mentalist stalls, the longer he can boom back, but then also the longer Valessa can boom back. Valessa has a much longer way to go. Rubenstock's still 54 Vils himself. And so much micro here for Valis on those Hufnitze. Fast Imp Monk Trebs with Aztecs. I feel like Aztecs are much better with a Castle Age push than the Fast Imp push. Like, the Fast Imp might be like a mirror against the Turks, say. But not necessarily for their own push. I also do wonder if maybe Valessa needed to have his castle in the back instead of forward, because his monks couldn't really defend against the cannons under the castle. I mean, he did get 1 conversion, but he needed some way to deal with Trebs, and he never had that. Castle now going down, Hufnitze getting a nice splash on some of those cav units. And the Halbs trying to do the rest. Remember, the Winged Hussars do have bonus damage against gunpowder units, including those Hufnitze. It will be a +4, so not huge, but at least does help with sniping them off. But Bohemian Halbs, they are deadly to cav. We have Valessa contributing with the monks again now. Nice attack ground there. Some of these low HP ones will get picked off. And the castle goes down. Chris just trolls it. Chris plays like the experienced Age of Empires 2 player he is every game. And with all the different Civ combinations he's used, from Byzantines on Chaos Pit to that Vietnamese pick on Migration, you can tell he is an expert player with years of experience. Those Halbs are totally unbeatable. They are against from a Cav Civ. Right, like, it's Harry. He's just gonna try to get his APM award back by microing the Winged Hussars. And now here comes Steppe Lancers just into the Hufnitze. Alright, let's see that again. Oh, that was a nice Hufnitze shot. As they're gonna come forward and try to go for the castle. Yeah, the Chinese on Migration going for the fast castle demo ships too. On the right, does it feel like Slam is still jamming? Is he jamming? Or will we now get Siege Onager from the Teuton Pocket? It's just normal Onager for now, as we have the chemistry upgrade coming in. And Valessa can reclaim his base soon. Lots of Bengali Halbs, but Halbs don't really like fighting against Onagers. Yeah, some nice splashes here from the Max. See if he can get a hit on the Winged Hussars. And he can. They're just kind of on stand ground. Hera, your units are not fighting. It's like a DE promotional trailer. And another nice Onager shot on the Halbs. And the Elephants are trying to push in for Slam. So Rubenstock might need to think about migrating himself too, but he is up to 80 vills, Valessa back to 54. Oh, but Redemption now in for the pole monks. They'll be trying to convert the onagers. And the Bohemians. Can these Hoofnitzer be stopped? Can they be stopped? Hera trying everything he can. Maybe finally he's gotten a slot away from the halves where he can take them out. But now the castle is forward. Turks, they can fight the Bohemians, but they need to be boomed to do so. And we still have Mentalist without artillery on his cannons. Valessa, though, he just can't catch a break. Chris is coming forward through the middle. It feels like maybe, just maybe, the pockets are holding on for Finland, but Canada is just so far ahead with Valessa out of the game. Look at the KD. He's contributed 9 kills so far, compared to at least 100 from Mentalist. And his reboom now, he was up to 54 vills, now down to 50 as he's being pressured. And his team just doesn't have the mobility with Teutons and Bohemians to respond to these raids. And there we have banking. We have artillery on the way. Is artillery the key for Mentalist to hold this push? Because right now their hope is that Valis can push this side. And there are some Halbs doing some raiding here. Canada taking a pretty big score lead, and now Slam pushing in against Rubenstock. And there's the GG. There is the GG, and Canada takes the win 4-3 over Finland, winning on Finland's home map pick of Arena. And the series goes all 7 games, but Canada will advance to the grand finals where they'll have a 1-game advantage in a best-of-7 against whoever wins the lower bracket. Finland, they're going to drop down to face the winner of China and Brazil. And what a great series from Canada. Check out the military numbers. That is 278 kills from Chris as the Cuman Pocket. Have most eco for Hera, of course, with those Folvark farms. The max 1 second off from having the most elite castle time possible. Thank you, Jin San MX, for the follow. And 153 vills for Chris. And once again, Hera, most APM in all of the games. And Kalthwell, thank you for the follow. Let me head out to the other scene. As these two teams were as dominant as they could have been in Nations Cup. And who knows, there's a chance we get a rematch. Here's a chance we will get a rematch, as Finland will be waiting on China and Brazil to finish their series, likely sometime next week. And there we have it.